What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Look at this. My voice. It's nearly back. It's still not 100%, by the way, but it's nearly back. Great news for you guys. I can finally talk about everything, get into everything, and start to try and answer some of the questions. But anyway, welcome back as always. Appreciate you guys tuning in on the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. Why? It's the day the Bitcoin bull market returned. No, seriously, though, it is, though. Yeah, quite a bit to get into tonight, as always. YouTube people, how did you like the little trailer thing? I might actually get, like, a little trailer that's like, hey, you, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, click that like button and also hit that subscribe button. All that kind of good stuff. We may do that. Which is kind of nice. But anyway, what we're going to talk about tonight, got a bit to get through. Quite a bit of technical stuff I thought was worthwhile. I thought we were going to get deep into Elliott wave theory. I thought, you know what? There was like, I was like, oh, what do I need to know and tell everybody about? And I thought to myself, Elliott wave theory. Let's talk about the most subjective way of technical analyzing a particular chart, because you don't know where people are going to take the... But let's do that. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm obviously being very facetious because Redemption put some ridiculous comment at the start of the stream. But we can actually talk about Elliott theory. I do actually know a little bit about it. Not loads, but I do know a little bit about Elliott wave theory. And it's incredibly subjective. And it's incredibly subjective on the time frames. And it's incredibly subjective from where you do it from. So it's not that accurate. All right? Resistance and support, they can't be debated. Elliott wave theory, kind of can. Anyway, if Nadar has the balls to come back in, not Nadar, sorry, I just saw your name. If Redemption comes back in, I'm happy to have the debate with him. Are you still 7 out of 10 worried? Probably 6 out of 10 today. Probably 6 out of 10. That's my view, by the way, because look, as much as yes, we've had a pump and yes, Bitcoin's moved 2.5%, we're still quite a way down. All right. So, you know, the last thing we need is to get like overly super mega hyped about, oh, the bull market's back. The thing I would say, and we'll touch on it a little bit more, is the key level, the 50-day moving average that we've been talking about. And we even talked about last night and we said, look, this has to be the line we close above. We closed above it. Now, it has to end on the week, which we need to be aware of. So, you know, one day doesn't make a bull run. But, you know, certainly when you look at that move followed by the push up today, that's generally a solid move. But we're going to get into a few things. We're going to talk about the 50-week EMA. We'll talk a little bit about some stuff going on at the Treasury that we need to break down. More specifically, a $1.25 trillion bond auction coming up. How could that affect the markets? That could be pretty interesting. And then we'll get into a little bit more in terms of some of the key technical standouts we need to look at, and then sort of get to a point where we decide whether we're bullish, bearish, or indifferent. Don't forget, I will actually be live again, double live stream tonight, as I'm back on with Vern about half an hour after this stream as well. So make sure you tap the follow button because you don't want to miss it on TikTok. Likewise, make sure you follow me on TikTok as well here on YouTube. So welcome in. Thank you so much. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, tap the screen, lock in some likes, all of that good stuff. Let's let the world know that we're live. Let's let them people know this is the channel that people need to be watching because we talk facts. And obviously we've got a community that generally keeps me on track, which would be good news. So with that being said, let's get a little bit into it. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the crypto market and let's try and just understand what is going on. Let me just finish my tea real quick. I just realized I drank that like a giraffe, so I'm sorry about that. It sounded like I was a cow in a field drinking out of a bath. I'm sorry about that, everybody. I'm sorry about that. That was ridiculous. All right. Anyway, Vern, thank you so much for coming in fresh with the roses. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. And whatever that is, thank you so much as well. I appreciate it. The hand of hearts are beautiful. And the heart means massively support the channel. So if you do want to support the channel, grab a heart me or give us some up, what do they call them? Popular ups or whatever it is. It's what like the ranking thing works on. So feel free, don't have to. It'd be great if you could. Right. I think you should stop doing ads on shit coins. Okay. Okay. I get that. I mean, I probably won't, but I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the feedback. You got to understand the reason why, I guess. And again, look, you can't deny in some of the instances, we've had some very good returns on them. But I think I took the feedback yesterday, which was do less and do ones that maybe are a little bit more, how can we say it? A little bit more solid. Like, think about it. I did one on XCL. It did a 33x in its first 3 days. If you saw that video and were like, oh, I might get into it, like some people did, you got 33x on that return. It's not bad. I admit some of them recently have not turned out well, but I mean, that's the, it's the unfortunate nature of the market, but good feedback. Well taken. Hopefully you come more than just once. Right. Thoughts on privacy coin. Gimmicky. If I'm honest, gimmicky, but look, it's doing very well in it. So with that being said, TikTok, head that way. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. Let's do the research before you buy the shitcoin. That's exactly what it is. All I'm doing is going, here's a coin, have a look at it. Should never take it as gospel, albeit we understand every day I must get 20 emails of like, oh, hey, can you do a video on Trump stock meme coin? And you go and have a look at it and it's got like 75% of the entire supply is bundled somewhere. And you're like, probably not in fairness. Probably not. So we try and pick the ones that might be good or that are different and innovative in the space. Doesn't always work out. That's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But good feedback as always. So Bitcoin then here on the dailies. No, excuse me, on the weekly candle, which again, we were talking about this. So this is the 50-day EMA or the 50-day moving average that we've been looking at. This was obviously the very bullish break or the very bullish push back above this line. Now, again, like we said, we still got 4 days and 4 hours before the market's closed for the week. So this is the line we need to stay above. Now, if people want me to go into the Elliott wave theory, like Redemption said, and just comes in, puts a message, and then doesn't come back, which is fine, I can do. But the reality is, right now, this is the only measure that matters. Why? Because when you look at it across the daily and the weekly candles, which we have been doing, you get a very obvious move over this entire kind of space, which, oops, why has it done that? Why has it done that? Which you argue and say, well, as we've said every single time, we have hit the 50-week moving average, a bounce to the upside has then generally followed. Now, the debate will be, if you're a doomer, you're going to say, absolutely not. We are going to freaking zero. And you're like, okay, well, that's cool. That's cool. If you are more bullish, you're going to say, well, look, I think we're definitely going to be in a place where this could bounce. Now, there's a couple of things we'll walk through, talk about and understand before we can really quantify and say the bull run's back on. Everything's freaking fine. My view, though, by the way, if we close the week above this candle, there above this green line, bull run is intact, and we are still very much in a place where we could head further up. If we break below this line and we close this line, then my view is we are very much done, and I would highly recommend people de-risking significantly in some of their positions. That's my opinion. However, we've got to kind of walk through some of these key things and sort of walk and talk through some of these key levels. But like we said, generally speaking, this is what we've seen, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in the charts, but worth noting, okay, I think when it comes to this. Likewise, we see things like Ethereum bouncing back. Again, look at this. So these lines we've had on forever. I mean, these are literally the most historic lines we've had on this chart for ages. Ethereum back above this key lower range support. So, if we didn't have this big wick at the bottom, which, by the way, is absolutely showing us momentum to the upside, you would say, if ETH got to here, you'd be like, well, look, it's a little bit bearish. It's dropped to a lower support level, but actually, okay, that's fine. The fact that we just saw the wick down, that's where people are kind of shitting their pants and sort of a bit like, oh my God, like, what the fuck is happening with the market? Equally, when you start to look in terms of that previous move, you start to get a pretty interesting level on the Fibonacci. So you can see here, look, the 0.5 at 3359. We wicked down to the 382 at 2984. So just, I think it was just marginally above 3000. But again, just gives you a view as to kind of where some of this is, which tells upside move right now, 6183734 local price target for Ethereum. If we get to there, we're absolutely then in a definite upward trend, as we've seen a number of times here. So you can see, look, the break, the retest of the lower range, which is basically the 0.5 Fibonacci before breaking back to the upside and very much printing. So you can see that how that pattern sort of plays out here. Very obviously, okay? So that's kind of where we sit. And look, the same can be said on a number of different coins. Solana doing exactly the same, perfectly bounced off this range at the bottom. Cardano, probably not as great, but still in there. XRP, the bear market or the bear trap is absolutely still playing out here, in my opinion. Absolutely still playing out here on XRP. Yes, we see the wick, but I still believe it's absolutely potentially a thing. You've also got BNBs up there as well as Sui, Zebek, Aerodrome's up 11%, almost wiping out pretty much most of yesterday's dip. Good on you, Aerodrome. Feeling that. The rest of the market, Asta having a good run today, which is kind of nice. And then you've got things like Zcash just going crazy. So whether everyone went long on Zcash, don't know, would have been a great opportunity. Again, you may or may not have done. Quant, for all those that have been asking about it, pumping about 15%. And likewise, Trump coin going crazy, pump up. So overall sentiment in the market, by the way, it feels pretty solid. We've got a 2.62% move on the overall market, back up to a $3.42 trillion market cap. Okay, good news. All right. Good news. GC in the building. Davo. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for the heart me's, Davo. Gino. Thank you for the heart me as well. Appreciate it. The market only goes up to a bit. It never goes down. I mean, that's true, XRPC. What's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Welcome in. What's going on? Rob, good to see you, man. Welcome in. Alsa's Crypto Alpha Crew. Discuss VWA. Interesting. You can manage AI summaries in settings. Cool. No idea why that just came up, but thanks. He won't see comments till he turns it around. Yeah, sorry, everybody. Thoughts on VWA? I don't know what it is, though, but we'll take a look at it. The market is unreal, plays with emotions. You know it, Ardon. That's what it does. That's what they want you to think. Moroccan Sauce says, what do you think of Propi? I feel like I don't have a view on Propi. Have we looked at that before? What is Propi? Don't hold it against me that I don't know straight off the top of my head. Propi. Someone help me out. I don't know it. I don't know anything about it, if I'm honest. I mean, it's up 17%, which is pretty bullish. Down slightly on volume, but I don't know anything about it. To give my view, I mean, it looks wild. The chart looks a bit insane. I'm not gonna lie. Like pump, dump. What the hell is that? It's on Coinbase, so fair play. But yeah, not too familiar with it, if I'm dead honest. A real estate token. Okay, fair enough. Oh, GC's coming in fresh. What's going on? What are we talking about this evening? Ardon. A lot. All right. We have got a lot. Yeah, of course I have, Rob. Of course I have, mate. We're going to have Christmas lights, snow, King Santa Claus. Mate, I've got it all for Christmas. Don't you worry about it. But yeah, Adam, we're going to get into all sorts tonight. I've got some pretty bullish news. And obviously just some things people keep telling me, too, but you're way too bullish all the time. Watch my videos today. I wasn't too fucking bullish. But anyway, right. Let's talk about some things going on. Sentiment. Ethereum zooming back towards 3,500 after short-term traders showed highest level of pain in 7 months. We told you not to fucking sell. Ethereum nearly scraped 3,500 again as threatening to fall below 3,000 support 20 hours ago. Everyone panicked. Everyone sold. That's what the game is. Now, I am going to jump forward just quickly because I think it does paint a very important picture. Remember, BlackRock dumping yesterday. Lots of them dumping, actually, in fairness. Guess what happened today? I'm not going to show you. Guess what happened today? Who can guess what happened today? Did BlackRock buy, sell, or do nothing? Let me know, chat. What do you guys think about punt on... What do you guys think about a punt on Rekt? As in wreckedrabbit.com or as in Rekt, as in like the yellow drink thing? Fear and greed at 20. Yeah, super scared. Buy. Interesting buy. So they didn't buy, but they didn't sell either. ARK21 dumped. The wider ETF market dumped. Remember, this is sentiment about the individuals that sit within there. It's not specifically the company. It's more the individual asset holders. Well, everyone freaked out. Everyone dumped it. BlackRock holders. Oh, excuse me, everybody. I apologize for that. BlackRock holders went, we're not going to sell today. Maybe there is something cooking on the surface. Maybe not. Who knows? But we have definitely seen periods of time when BlackRock doesn't sell. Generally, this signs a reversal, or it generally signs a period of time where BlackRock doesn't really do anything and the market doesn't do too much, and then boom. So this is something to keep an eye on. Right? I'm not going to say that they're definitely going to pump the market to oblivion, but I thought it was interesting after relentless selling over the last 48 hours. Relentless. 6,500 BTC dumped out of their accounts is a big old chunk of money, right? You're talking, what, $660, $670 million dumped. It's getting there, Tomato P. It is getting there. We're not 100%, but we're definitely getting there. Mina, I don't know what Mina is either. If you've got coins you want us to take a look at, we do it in the second half of the show. It's in about 25 minutes, so stick around. I'll bring all of them up. We'll take a look at them. We'll look at the charts. Stick around, tap the like button, do all that good stuff, and we'll bring them up. But yeah, I'm getting there. So sentiment definitely returned in the short term. There are some things we need to be mindful of. Obviously, we talked yesterday about Fed repo debt, which, by the way, I was looking, obviously, like I'm almost a little bit obsessed with it now, which isn't a good thing, by the way, because it keeps me awake all night. But I was looking at it again this morning, trying to get an understanding of what's going on with it and seeing just where we're going to go with this repo debt. How bad's it going to be? Are we going to continually see these kind of, purchasing from the repo debt markets? We did, however, get a little bit more, but significantly less, over $4 billion less for that repo debt. And sentiment today felt like the government shutdown may come to an end. This is now over $1 trillion, by the way. So you sort of get into a world where hopefully this will start to come down. If we get to sort of something around 7-8 billion on repo debt, that's generally where we've been. Doesn't mean there isn't a liquidity nervousness. Doesn't mean that this couldn't all just roll over and go to absolute shit in the shortest time. So do absolutely be mindful of that, but worthwhile thinking about. Longer term perspective, traders active in the past 365 days also fallen back in the negative territory, right? I'm going to talk about long-term holders and specifically institutions in just a minute. But sentiment in the short term is back a little bit, all right? A little bit. Again, this isn't about mortgaging your house and going all in on a 500x leverage long. Like, this is just understanding a little bit where we are. Short-term shorts getting a little bit of pain today, but nothing specifically crazy. Now, what we also had here was Bitcoin's rebound stalled around 103,000. We obviously pushed through that, albeit 104 is proving to be a little bit more challenging. So again, this kind of 102 range definitely feels like a key level for us. 103 is a strong point to try and break through, but most longs are cleared. So again, another massive liquidity flush means that, well, there's not a lot in terms of trade opportunities. And the fact that the 30% that are left are sat in a loss to a degree, and that these generally or historically have marked the bottoms. So again, I'm conscious that I don't want to sit here and be like macro crazy bullish, but when you start to stack up with the potential upside versus potential downside, there is definitely an argument to say that as of at the moment, the market is kind of recovering. It's trying to understand what it wants to do. I think there's a debate, even the fact BlackRock aren't doing buying or selling. Well, if we're heading to a bear market, you'd argue that they would be absolutely dumping the shit out of it. Why stop? Why dump 6,500 Bitcoin in 2 days and then go, oh, no, we're cool now. Let's just wait and see. Now, maybe we pump back up a little bit and they dump everything, but I would just wait if you are thinking of getting into these. But like we said, historically, these particular low levels that we've seen do generally mark the bottoms, or certainly the local bottoms, before then a price pushes further up to the upside. So important to think about on that. Excuse me. I thought this was another interesting chart that aligns perfectly to what we've talked about when it comes to the 50-week moving average. Man. Right, I'm trying to clear my throat. So if you think about the 50-week moving average that we talked about here on the weekly, you can kind of see, obviously, these dips. Now, this perfectly aligns to what we're talking about here, but what you can see there is the fear and greed at that particular point before that reversal then came in. Again, I'm not saying that this is going to be the most bullish sentiment in the world. I'm also not saying this is the only thing we should be very mindful of. But it is interesting to know that the local bottoms all came in at extreme fear that we've been talking about, 21, 20, 25. Before then, the market then pushed back to the upside. So again, worth kind of, just thinking about particularly where we are. Again, this isn't a confirmation. This isn't kind of like, oh, everything's fine, because right now we still are in extreme volatility. However, holding that 50-week moving average is definitely a good sign. And then, like I said, specifically when you have sentiment returning and the fear and greed index particularly looking like it signals the local bottoms, then that is something to be, something to be mindful of, in my opinion. Reverse 2-bit in the house says 94K is the next stop, hopefully reverse at that point. 94K. I should put these all on the chart and we'll see who gets closest. Yeah, should be good all around 365, so nearly double my money. Nice. After the 10th and now this week, I would love to go back to normal with a recovery this year. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a tough old cycle, this one. Let's be absolutely dead honest with you. Absolutely dead honest. But yeah, worthwhile thinking about that one. And then I thought this was an interesting chart. I know clearly you guys can't see it on TikTok, so I apologize. But well, Beebs, I want to talk about that because I think everyone's got it wrong, by the way. I think everyone has got that wrong. And I don't think there is going to be any announcement. I don't think the announcement comes till like next year. So it's like, who cares? Who cares what they say? Like, I think it's like all this like hype and bullshit that people are like, oh, Trump tariffs, the Supreme Court's going to vote on it. No, they're not today. They're not at all going to vote on it today. It's going to be like next year. Like, no way on this earth. No freaking way is that going to be announced today. Like, that they all go into a court and then at the end of the day they go, yeah, screw it, they're illegal. Boom. No, not a chance. It's next year. At best. At best. I'd go for like March, April time at the absolute earliest. There's no way. They aren't stupid. You know, however you look at it, there is money coming in from tariffs. However you look at it. So I think it's just going to all be like, it's just going to be noisy as fuck for a while. But maybe what it does is stop any, I think the whole like Canada tariff was probably the one that everyone was a bit like, you can't just, you know, just because you're upset because someone said a mean word about you, you can't just be like, right, slamming tariffs on you pricks. TJ, what's going on, buddy? I am in the building. Welcome. Don't forget, everybody, keep tapping that screen. Keep locking in those likes. Keep dropping those heart me's. Get your daily heart me's in. Absolutely appreciate it, as always. Like I said, if you haven't already hit the thumbs up on YouTube as well, please do so. We've been crushing it with the live streams recently, so I massively appreciate it. Let's make sure everybody's aware of what's going on in the market. The way they do that is by you guys interacting, engaging, getting super bullish, hyper engaged. Oh, my God. Anyway, right. So Bitcoin spot ETFs, digital asset treasuries, their buying has dipped. Okay, it's actually gone below the BTC daily. So at the minute, we're mining more BTC than treasury companies are buying. Good news. Ish. What it tells us is right now, there is definitely a slowing in demand from institutions, or certainly from ETFs and digital asset treasury companies. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're going to start dumping everything, but it is something, once again, to be mindful of. So for every yin, which is bullish sentiment, markets go to the upside, there is a yang, which is sentiment's kind of not quite maybe where we think it is, and there is some macro headwinds that we absolutely need to be mindful of. We have seen these levels before, by the way, so this isn't unusual. We saw a little dip off in ETFs back there in beginning, so towards the end of October, for the end of August. I can get my words out rather than talking fucking nonsense all the time. So by the end of August, again, this correlates with a dip into then the pump into September. So you can kind of really put these two together and start to paint a picture of how you feel. You know, look at this. Back in February and March, April of this year, you know, we saw a significant decline. Well, what did that look like in the charts? Let's take a look at it. Well, it correlated perfectly to a massive decline in the market. So, you know, the two things can be intrinsically linked. The debate will be like the chicken and the egg, which came first. Is the market bad because ETFs are selling or they're not buying? Or is the ETFs bad because Bitcoin price is down? Let me know in the chat. Shane, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Swag, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. I'm not even kidding, by the way. It's so good to have, like, I don't know, like 75% of my voice back. It's been hard work. But yeah, let me know in the chat. Do you reckon it's, you know, Bitcoin price, or do you reckon it's ETF volume? But the two directly correlate. So, you know, if we start to potentially get a reversal coming in, which the goal line, by the way, is treasury companies. The green line is ETFs. And you've got the blue line, which is the total, by the way, so kind of what they're buying. You know, we want the green line starting to tick back up. ETFs kind of buying the dip a little bit, not too much though. They bought more yesterday than today. Treasury companies, we want to see the orange line start to reverse back. Could then correlate with more optimism in the market, which I think could be a good news story. So, yeah, the two things do go hand in hand. I'm thinking about now. The other thing to think about here, just to kind of give you guys a bit of a view, and then I want to get into something that I think is way more interesting, although you guys might not think it's interesting, right? But hold on to me. So, tech stock valuations, we've talked on this. Obviously, everyone's going crazy on the S&P 500. They're like, oh, the S&P 500, it's going to the freaking moon. Like, oh, bro, screw Bitcoin, screw the crypto markets. Everyone's in S&P 500. It's super, super bullish. 47% now is made up of 7 companies, all right? So don't be fooled when everyone's like, I mean, this is a little bit for the Trump thing, by the way, when he's like record highs in the stock market. No. Record highs in the AI and tech sector. Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft. Look at Microsoft's earnings. Look at Microsoft profit. Microsoft companies fucking booming. Their stock took an absolute shit show of a crash. Why? Because there's a lot of debate right now that certain, you know, macroeconomics are overpriced, right? Again, I'm not going into the too much details of it. Again, for reference, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, but these are some of the things you can look at. Now, there are 2 ways to look at this. And we've sort of touched on this previously in other live streams, which is you can look at this from a bullish standpoint and say, well, why are certain techs, why is Nvidia overvalued to a degree? Or it might not be, depends how you look at it. But why is Nvidia booming? $5 trillion market cap. Well, AI's booming, ChatGPT's booming. All the kind of tech savvy investors are going into that. So you've got tons of money pouring into it. Even when you look at, people like Apple, the Trump administration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, like huge amounts of money being dumped into this. Bearish take that everything's overvalued and it's all going to come crashing down pretty aggressively. All right. So, it only would take one of those companies to have a bad earnings report, a bad, narrative or whatever it is. And it may all just come down like a house of cards. That's the risk. Feels like, though, there is significant capital that's going to be injected in it. So worth thinking about. But, certainly I wouldn't get too hung up on the whole like S&P 500s at new all-time highs and fucking stock markets going absolutely crazy. It's just seven companies particularly. I mean, some others are doing well, but worth noting. Platform is asking for 5,000 to release my funds to my bank. This is gas payments, apparently. What platform? Because that's bollocks. Iron, that is rubbish. So yeah, Ramsey adds how to join the Discord in bio and 2 people will help. Yeah, jump in the Discord. I'm sure someone will help you. Do not reply to anyone though when you get in there. Just put it in the general chat and people will help you out, right? And if once I finish my live stream, I'll try and come in as well. But just be careful because you'll get in there and be like, I've got 5. I mean, you should never really put the value of money you've got on it because people are wild in this space. But join the Discord, link in the bio. We'll try and help you out the best we can. But I am curious as to what the platform is because we might be able to look at it while we're live. Alchemix is just starting to break out. Nice. Sorry, you're right. And I hear same prices. Thanks, my friend Curtis. What's going on? JFR's in the building. What's going on? Magnificent 7 have been killing it in stocks. The rest, not so much. Exactly, Tim. Exactly. So, again, worth noting. Okay, right. A couple of other bits I want to touch on real quick. Stephen freaking Mirren, once again, giving us, as they call him here, the most dovish member of the Federal Reserve. Get him to be the chairman. That's what we want. Not a ton of stuff, all right? Not a ton of stuff. If I'm honest, I think he was way more bullish or way more dovish on expectations. He's very, very, very conservative, though, in terms of where the federal policy rate is, which is kind of interesting. But again, quoting a few things, he still believes we are too restrictive. I don't think anyone is, no one's debating that. I think a lot of people are absolutely in that place. But one of the things he's kind of going after is the housing market. He's also going after this whole like tariff announcement, all the rest of it. But Mirren basically saying this: stock rallies should not be responded to mechanically with policies, and that the Fed should focus its decision on fundamental economic indicators rather than market fluctuations. It's not a bad thing. And actually loads of the data. So we're not going to get jobs data. We're not going to get a few other bits and pieces, right? So kind of interesting to think about how this plays through. But Stephen Mirren is a Trump appointed Fed member. Let's just be dead clear about that, okay? So you have to take whatever he says. He's always going to be dovish. He's always going to be aligned to whatever the federal government says, as opposed to his words, not mine, being independent. You got to be careful of that. Mirren also touched on potential impact of President Trump's tariff policy. I mean, that you don't need to know much more. But at the same time, he is there. He is obviously going to try and influence it. We also got Fed Waller giving us that he still believes there should be a December rate cut. It was 70% yesterday. I haven't looked today, in fairness, so we're looking at it together. But I think it was about 70%. Still got 35 odd days left to go. But yeah, 62.7. So a little bit of nervousness around Trump tariffs. A little bit of nervousness. I think there was probably a little bit in terms of what was going to be said at the Trump speech, which was kind of a bit like, here's all the things we've done the last 12 months and how I got to be the president of the United States. So with that, I want to just focus in on another couple of little bits and pieces, which I think is important. Seen Chip's ear earlier. He was out on commission, but he should be back now in chats. Awesome. Good news. Hey, Dubit, is Mrs. Dubit going to be part of your stream one day? It would be good seeing her to give you grief on air. No, I've asked her a number of times. She won't do it. She won't do it, in fairness. So, yeah, there's a couple of times she sits there when she's working as well, which is always a bit weird. It's always a bit weird when I live stream and she's sat next to me. But yeah, she's got no interest, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you never know. I mean, I could like sneak the camera around and show you her, but she might then hate me for the rest of my life. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, good. Okay, a couple of things. The Treasury, once again, buying back over $2 billion of its own bet. Pretty interesting. We talked about this a number of times before. Yet again, they're buying more. Now, you may ask yourself, why? Why are they buying more? This would be about 7 billion, I think. No, not at all, mate. Not at all. Not at all. She works in like digital marketing and like e-commerce something or other. I don't know. I don't really know, to be honest. But yeah, not her scene at all. Not her scene. We're always here chilling through dips and dippity dips. You know it. What's going on, Jesse? Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Been a minute. Hope you're keeping well, bud. Hope you're keeping well. So yeah, interesting, by the way, that they continue to buy back their old debt. This could be, though, part of a bigger plan. And guess what? Your boy might have found out what it is. I'm going to talk about it because it is interesting. Okay, strap in, everybody. The US Treasury is now planning a 1.25 trillion bond auction. Now, before you get super bullish on it, this is bad news, by the way. US Treasury's 1.25 trillion bond auction this November. Stick these dates in your diary because we could be seeing some pretty interesting volatility in the market. 10th of November, 12th of November, and the 13th of November. We are going to get over $1.25 trillion of our 3, 10, and 30-year Treasury bonds will be printed. Now, unfortunately, this is not what you think it is. Because when I was looking into it, I was like, oh, this is great. Quantitative easing. Print some money, baby. No. This is about restricting the money printers. This is about trying to manage debt, unfortunately. So not particularly good news. And we'll talk a bit about why it's not good news in just a second. But the increased supply of US sovereign debt is closely watched for its impact on global dollar liquidity. The fact of the matter is it sucks liquidity up, unfortunately. That's the reality of it because people buy them. Now, when they buy them, it also pushes the price up, interest rates up. Not good news. So large treasury issuance suck dollar liquidity out of the system, often setting the stage for a crypto volatility if risk appetite suddenly changes. Okay, so again, that's kind of where you get to. Now, what's interesting is this is kind of where the US bond market is currently distributed, right? So again, what you can see here, bear in mind, this is all debt. It's all debt, as we understand. So you can see that US investors hold 55%. This is, again, why the Treasury is buying back things like bonds, things like Treasury yields. This is to try and boost this amount, okay? So it's almost a little bit like paying off some debt, but it's not paying off some debt, but it's kind of almost like paying off some debt. Foreign investors around 24%, Federal Reserve owns 13%, and then you got Social Security and URS at about 7%. So bear in mind, they pay percentages on these, okay? So when you look at like, we have it tracked down here, don't we? So for example, when you look at the 10-year Treasury, currently that's paying 4.15%. All right, just pretty crazy. 4.15% on the 10-year, and then this is why it's bad. So not only does it suck liquidity out of the market, you've then got the ability to go and get 4%. Like you could go and buy a 10-year Treasury and get 4.15% on it, right? That's the reality of it. 4.15%, or you go into Bitcoin and you're like, oh, maybe if it's an uptrending market, I'll get 10% MicroStrategy. Maybe I can get 6% with an ETF. It's kind of like, or I can get, bear in mind, these are guaranteed. You can't default on US Treasuries and US bonds. They're guaranteed. So, you're never going to lose your money. That's why people like them. They're definitely seen as high volatility. People may go into these. If they become more attractive, then we will definitely see liquidity sucked out of the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency prices into these. Remember what we said yesterday. Bitcoin and the crypto market is driven by liquidity. It's not driven by anything else. People have to buy it for a higher price than you want to sell it to make the markets go up. Simple as that, right? And that's the difference. Jupiter, what's going on? Welcome in, Coach JV. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I think there's about 300 of you following me now, so welcome in. Fairground, good to see you, buddy. Welcome in as always. Dads are in the building. Talking about some Christmas meme coins. Love it already. Love it. Are we on the downward trajectory now? We, depending on what time frame you look at. If in doubt, zoom out. We thought price with Quant and Filecoin ICP. I mean, ICP had a massive dump. Personally, would have sold it yesterday if I was in. If I was up. Quant's had a great run today. Again, ISO, when's that? 22nd of November? So I won't do anything with Quant, particularly until that point. So keep an eye on it. But I've always said Quant will just grind its way up, I'm sure. Filecoin, not super sure on that one. I was in that at some point with the investment group, but not so much anymore. So anyway, this is kind of important to think about. And then you can see the splits, by the way. And you can see the split in terms of kind of where certain things sit. Now, interestingly enough, if you caught my Bitcoin update video today, maybe some of you watched it, maybe some of you didn't. Again, remember, we fill those videos now. We're not like I'm really trying to not just be like, oh, look at this news headline, it's super, super bullish, or oh, look at this news headline, and we're going to fucking shit. Like, they generally have, you know, chart analysis, macroeconomic data in them, you know, important things you guys need to look at and try and understand to get a feel for where the market's going to go. I'm at no point telling you market's going up, market's going down, but, you know, look, if you watch it, great. Drop a like on it, hit a comment on it, be like, yo, I'm bullish, great, all that kind of stuff. You think we hit the low, or another one coming? I think the low I think we've been in. If we hold the weekly, I don't think you can make a decision, by the way, until the end of the week. 50-week moving average, that's the number we're looking for. The price is around $98,000. Break below $98,000, shit the bed. I'm probably going to liquidate a lot of my positions, because I think then generally the market's going to be pretty tasty. If we manage to hold above that, yeah, we'll sort of, we'll talk about it most days. So, but again, important, by the way, if you caught my video earlier on, which, like I said, I would highly recommend it. And I'm almost tempted to show you guys because I literally freaking called this. So again, if you are interested, by the way, it's dead simple. Go to youtube.com/2BitCrypto. That's me, baby. If you don't know who I am, then you are 100% missing out. But for all those people that think I'm super bullish on every live, look at this. This was the video I put out earlier. Crypto is crashing. Caroline. No, wait, Caroline. Wait, Caroline. I talked about... Where was it? I can't remember. Anyway, somewhere in here where I talk about, you know, Japan, China. Maybe it's around here somewhere. The one that we need to be mindful of at the minute, we've got BlackRock, we've got the... Can't remember. Anyway, I talked about the fact that China and Japan will continue to bolster their personal or their country's stock balance. Remember, Japan's stock market crashed 4%, by the way. So it's interesting that they both own massive amounts of US debt. Like, pretty interesting. So the fact of the matter is that this absolutely could play out with this, this new issuance, because what you might get is you might get some of these trying to buy way more. So again, important just to keep your eyes on this one. Important those dates are in your diary, all right? Don't miss out on those dates. Do I think we're going to see extreme volatility? Maybe. Maybe. Depends if enough people are watching this. But I've got a video coming out about this, and it'll talk a little bit more about what the effect of this potentially is going to have on the market and how this will impact on global liquidity. Remember, we talk about M2 quite a lot. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Keep your eyes peeled on that. 2-bit speaking from a box. Maybe. RP says, house of fun, no maintenance, the real diggity. What's that? It says, if we go one more nice pump, I may be able to get one of those carpets with a road on it. Oh, dear me. Brandon, best fits by far. Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Stephen, love a lot. Another paid pumper with his full of crapola. What, talking about the $1.25 trillion bond auction? That's me. Pump those bonds, baby. Pump them. By the way, you've spelt with wrong, I think. You've put WHI, which is we. So it reads a little bit like you're retarded. Laugh a lot. Another paid pumper. You've missed an E out, by the way. You must have been really angry on that keyboard. Like, really angry. You missed an E out and a C and an H. Fucking 2-bit fucking crypto pumping bonds. Anyway, I always appreciate it. Which is always fun, isn't it? It's always fun. Bonds of the future. Bonds are the future. No, they're not. Anyway, keep your eyes on this. Remember, 10th, 12th, and 13th. Stick it in your diary. Make sure that you are locked in. Are we going to see some crazy moves? Don't know. I don't think so, personally. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, my TikTok live just got flagged. Come on, TikTok. Anyway, moving on. Bitcoin now down, I said down 103.59. So again, we're not going to worry about that too much. It is what it is. Yeah, well, no, it's oh dear. I've got an idea. Hold on a minute. Mute microphone. There we go. It's because I was calling Stephen out for his incredibly shit spelling, which he's then done again. Mate's got a T in it. Pumper doesn't have a V in it. But hey, look, Stephen, we welcome you to the channel as always. We're always appreciative of everyone that comes here. What's going on, Fairground? 1,800 likes. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Okay. So that kind of takes us through, I guess, headline stuff. Time is it on? 32 minutes past. Let's, we talked about that. US Treasuries we've talked about. We don't need to worry about that too much anymore. Let's stick this on the 4-hour chart. We can kind of see what's going on here. And yeah, if anyone wants to take a look at some coins, what were you guys on about? VMA or something? Stardock says, I've been DCAing into 20-year US bonds for 2 months for my bear market preparations. Nice. Is there a, I'll tell you what we need to see. Let me just put that there. Let me just bring this up. Let me just, oh, that's what I want to see, yeah. That's what I want to see. Oh, no, that's not what I know what that is. Sorry. I want to see, this. I want to see this. Okay, so, because I for a while, I was obviously getting a bit confused. I'm just to be clear before anyone says I'm not confused. I was curious about the cost of these. So how much does it actually cost to buy them? The price to buy a US Treasury bond depends on the specific bond, but you can expect to pay close to par value, e.g. 99 for 32 for a 5-year note or 100.75 for a 10-year. The exact price determined by factors like bonds, maturity date, its coupon rate. Okay, well, why don't we have a look and see on this particular website? I'm conscious I don't want to get yeeted, but how much is like the 10-year Treasury to buy? Anyone know? Today's auction result. Anyone know what they are? I don't think so. Bonds at a glance. Mature in 20 or 30 years. Minimum purchase is $100 in increments of $100. Maximum purchase is $10 million. So if you're going to buy matures in 2030, so you're going to buy a 20 or 30 year Treasury. The 30-year government-backed bond is currently paying 4.7% yield. Holy shit. So 4.7% yield. Buy Treasury market security. So do you just buy it as like incremental buying? So you say, well, I want to put like 5 million in and I just get 4.75. Your Treasury direct account, each auction is for a specific type of security, which is identified as a unique CUISP number. Okay. Prices. Here we go. So 30-year Treasury there. I don't know. I need to find that out. I'm curious as to what it looks like, because if you're going to get 4.74%, which by the way, I think this will be pumping on the fact of the whole like Trump tariff news. Is my opinion, by the way. I think that's probably where it gets to. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If someone can find that out, that'd be great, by the way. That'd be great. Are you going to stream Galley House in 20 minutes? Oh, is he live on Ripple as well, is he? I mean, I can do. TikTok gets a bit weird about it, but I can do. All in Crypto says, any XRP holders? Have you seen the XRP news today? Holy XRP. I mean, it's great news, isn't it? Great news. The 500 million like private sale thing's a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. We could definitely bring it up. Yeah, I'm down for it. I am down for it. So yeah, 500 million like just random raise of capital. You're like, what the hell? Like IPO, baby. Maybe that's the answer. But yeah, pretty interesting if you ask me. I did tweet it out, actually. I did post something out. Feels like there's a lot of news about XRP today, which is great. MasterCard partnerships, viral USD settlements on XRPL. Like, you got Brad Garlinghouse saying this. Look, 2025, without a doubt, has been an incredible year for Ripple and a record for crypto as a whole. We today announced a $500 million investment in Ripple from Fortress Investment Group. So Citi Securities, Pantera Capital, and Galaxy HQ, like 2 massive liquidity providers. which is kind of crazy. Bevan Howard and Marshall once at a $40 billion valuation. Pretty interesting. Investment is just validation of Ripple's growth strategy and business built on foundation of XRP, but also a clear bet on what the future of crypto will look like. Let's go. Yeah, it definitely feels like it. It feels like there's just like more and more and more coming out every single day. Alvin, I literally just don't even want to say a serious question, make crumpets and ranch coin. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. Hey, do you know what is great though? Do you know what is really what I like the most? This is one of the things that I just like doing this. It's great actually, because here's a good thing. Whenever you work hard and you build a channel and you really work hard in terms of kind of what you do, then what you can do is that you can ban people from the channel. And it's really satisfying when someone like Steven gets banned and now he has to go back to his mum's basement and play with himself. So thanks for coming, Steven, but see you later. No sound. TJ, sorry. I just had to deal with something. TJ, but don't worry about it. So yeah. So Kaya, you mute. Yeah, I muted just for a short split second, just I had this really bad itch that I just needed to scratch. And what I can say is it's been scratched. Very well, actually. It's been very well scratched. And I don't think that itch is ever going to come back again. So great news. So yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. Why is there a $40 billion valuation? Why have they raised 500 million? Why is City Securities, Pantera Capital and Galaxy getting involved? It's not crabs. So yeah. Look, Tim, I don't mind. I said this yesterday. I don't mind anyone having a difference in opinion, right? I don't mind anyone having a difference in opinion. The minute you make it personal, like what you do with your life, that's my view, by the way. It's like you just go and do something else. In my opinion. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, who knows what this is going to look like? Maybe we get some more announcements. I will definitely keep an eye out for it on here. Let's put it down here and then I can see it when it comes up. And we will certainly try and get Monsieur Garlinghouse and hear what he said. No, I did it, Craig. Hi, everyone. Cheeky bye yesterday, which has gone right for me. Mouse, what's going on, bro? Welcome, everybody. I was still in the bull market and we have alt season. So, Tom, here's my view, by the way, that at the minute, the macro data tells us that the bull market is still intact. We have to wait for the end of the week, though. We need to see what the markets do. We need to see what Bitcoin does. If you're looking for any sort of numbers that are attached to that, not financial advice, I'm just giving you my view. The 50-week moving average sits at 101,028, or the 50-week EMA, all right? The 50-week SMA is a little bit higher, but in theory, the EMA is a little bit, I mean, it's a little bit less accurate than like the moving average. But the reality is 100K is probably where we're at. Finish the week under 100K. Yeah, I'm going to lead way more towards bear market is on its way. Probably time to, either cut some losses, preserve some capital, de-risk a little bit, because think about it. If we break below this line on the weekly, we've never done it before in the entire move of this bull market cycle. That makes it different. Why the example moving in on the recent Ripple news partners with MasterCard and 55? I think people are still a little bit uncomfortable as to where the market's actually going to go. Bear in mind, you could just get a dead cat bounce off today, which again, people will always say that that's what's happened. So we do need to just watch the market. There's no rush. I mean, we're at 103. Don't forget, XRP's up about 6%. That's broadly speaking 3 times what Bitcoin is. The overall market's only up 2.5, so it's double, nearly triple the overall market. So you just haven't got a lot in the actual market today, which is, which is interesting. But, XRP 233, little bounce again, looking like it may get back above that EMA, which will be good news. So, yeah, nice little bounce, to be honest. Curtis says, no, it's great, maybe next year. No, that's far. Curtis, I think Mike enjoyed that one, though. Well, okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lose any sleep of it. Yeah, Ripple's $40 billion valuation. Where they get that number from, not sure. It's pretty wild, though. Is it $40 billion? I mean, it'd be pretty crazy if it was, but worth thinking about, in my opinion. But, look, we'll see. What's interesting as well, by the way, you've got a lot of altcoins that have moved relatively big. They're just not any of the big ones. You want ETH to do like 7 or 8%. It's done 4.6. It's pretty solid, back above 3,400. We'll wait and see. Asia did buy the dip. They did come in and, well, actually, I think they dipped it down a little bit more than, sort of came back in and buy, which, to to a degree, shows a bit of appetite for risk. So look, we'll see where we are. Pre-markets, dead quick, just for tomorrow. We're only really bothered about the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, which is marginally down. Nikkei unchanged, right? No one really cares about that. Shanghai's going to be down a little bit. Commodities look like they're going to be flat. So probably not anything really too crazy, if I'm honest. I proven correct name, although it's supposed to be spelled with a K. That's true. Mouse said, Mouse does, yeah. Treasuries look like they may come down a little bit back versus the 10-year. So look, that's going to be certainly, certainly kind of worth keeping our eyes out for. Right. What was the token you were all talking about? VMA or something, right? Is it a coin market cap one? Can't remember what you kind of talking about. Oh man, have you seen there's loads of stuff coming out about Jasmine at the minute? Loads of stuff coming out about Jasmine. Bullish on Jasmine, by the way. VMA. Is it VMA? Was it Virtual Meta? No, it can't be. What was it? What do you guys want? It was on TikTok. XRP holders have built a $40 billion company that doesn't benefit them. I have thousands of XRP, by the way. Bullish. Okay, so don't hate me for saying this. I'm going to switch one miner to buy long. Yeah, Alvin, you do you, bro. You do you. You gotta make the plays. Decreed, please. DCR. Sounds like a bullish one. Decreed, there it is. Look at that. It's up 22% today. Let's go. At $42. Holy crap. 78.5 million market cap. Monthly candles. Wow. I mean, okay. Here's the thing. Why is it spiked there? Looks like it's got a shit ton of volume going through Binance for some reason. Don't know anything about it. It's way down from its all-time high of $250. I mean, if they know something's coming, cool. If they don't, then I would be very mindful of that. Still reckon AVAX can do 200 this bull run. If the bull run's still intact and if the bull run's still here, I'm still optimistic about where AVAX is going to go. Well, I'm optimistic about where altcoins are going to go because the liquidity will have to come into the market. So, again, it's one of those. It's a catch-22 in it at the minute. And again, the sentiment feels better. I'm going to say it's bullish, but I think it feels better. And those key things that we look at are still intact. I think that's the important thing to reference here. So, yeah, I've been learning order flow trading. My brain hurts. I don't profess ever to be some sort of genius when it comes to trading because I think you can way overcomplicate trading. And if you think about it, you could be like probably dialed in, like, okay, let me do the Fibonacci extension. Here's the 1.618. Here we go. Trump goes, I'm going to put a tariff on Bosnia and Herzegovina. And you're like, ah, shit, market's gone to zero. Come on, bro. Right, I've got Ripple Swell up here. I'll keep an eye on what's going on and whether we get anyone. Obviously, TikTok, I'm not going to be able to show you guys, but I think you can listen to the audio. This market is going to shock everyone. There's going to be so much liquidity flying into the market. Well, I mean, a lot of people believe that. Go ETH, go XRP, go Chiles. If XRP holders made a $40 billion company, XRP would be a security of Ripple. Oh, there you go. There you go. Right, they've just finished the fireside chat with Brad Garlinghouse and closing remarks. Okay, so looks like we'll get Brad in, like 5 minutes or something? Background says bullish, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. Okay. Yeah, privacy's going wild. I mean, look at it. Why is nearly $500 a coin? Like, what the fuck is going on with Zcash, bro? I should have longed that from $3.99 that I thought I was going to do. Gotta have some conviction in your players, but yeah, it's freaking wild. Zcash is absolutely wild. Dash, the other hand, down 10%. Oh no. Dash on a little bit of a dumperino, so. A little bit of a dumperino. It is what it is. It is what it is. Xseller up 20%, which is kind of good news. We talked on that yesterday. Zcash is wild. Yeah, Zcash is freaking wild. Like, you're just like, what? Why has Zcash gone that crazy? Like, what the flipping heck? It is what it is, though, bruh. Is what it is, what it is. Yo, is what it is, what it is. Zcash is the preview of what XCL is going to do. Let's hope so. Unseen Reality says Casper. I don't know what Casper's doing nowadays. What is he doing, Casper? Let's have a look. Still waiting for sleepless nights and good God candles. Yeah, me too, bro. Me too. Right. Okay. Oh, we've got Brad. All right. Holy shit. Sorry, everybody. Here we go.
swayed the outcome in 2024. I mean, it made a difference, and look at what's happened since. You've got a pro-crypto White House with skin in the game, a pro-crypto SEC. You have the Genius Act, which was passed on a bipartisan basis, and we know none of that happens on a regular basis here. So I'm curious, just to kind of start us off here, how pleased are you with the return on investment of the industry's political spending?
For those of you here this morning, I just remind you, I was in that seat, the interviewer. It's a whole lot easier to be the interviewer than the interviewee.
It is.
But look, I agree with what Novogratz said. I actually, during the 2024 election cycle, I tweeted out something to the effect that the Dems were going to be led off a cliff by Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler. And I think the Dems underestimated how passionate and how large the crypto community was, and I think it did impact votes. So when I don't think about it in the words of a return on investment. I think about it as we as a electorate should care about the United States leadership in innovative technologies, in AI, in the early days of the internet, and certainly that's true in blockchain and crypto. And the fact that it became partisan, I will be mind-boggled this on my deathbed. Like, this is a technology that can help people and be used to improve financial empowerment. We heard some great panelists today talking about this and why we would be opposed to a technology. Now, people can use technology in ways we may not like, but we should regulate that, not the technology itself. And I think that the community of the industry leaned in. Ripple was one of the key leaders, alongside Andreessen Horowitz and Coinbase, to support a super PAC that elevated and educated voters about these issues, and it certainly impacted some elections.
And of course, the SEC's years-long campaign against Ripple basically went up in smoke following the election. You talked about Gary Gensler just now. You've described the SEC under Gary Gensler as waging a war against the crypto industry.
But that's it's Elizabeth Warren's words, and I mean, literally, I'm not making those words up. They said, we're raising an army to attack crypto.
So what would you say to Gary Gensler if you were to bump into him on the street or downstairs?
I think actions speak louder than words.
So you wouldn't need to say anything?
Honestly, my honest view on this is I would not say, look, this is someone who I feel acted in bad faith. There wasn't an honest effort to engage and discuss. And I mean, you got to remember, this was when they sued us. I think many people would say, okay, you could see that maybe there's confusion about what is a currency versus a commodity versus a security. But what
I just thought I'm live with Bern as well in like 40 minutes. So I think we should be all right, actually. But yeah, it's kind of all right so far, isn't it? Not super crazy. I've just put the price of XRP there as well, by the way. So you can keep an eye on it.
For a personal charge, there's a corporate charge, and Stu Alderodi's sitting here nodding, so I'm getting something right. I feel like I learned a lot during that process. But the idea that I knew XRP was a security and acted recklessly anyway, it's just that's absurd. And they were just doing it to be bullies. And you have later on, you have even former chairs of the SEC going on TV saying that they intentionally waged pressure by going after executives. I just don't feel like that's the way the United States government should work.
So now that
if I saw him on the street, I wouldn't say much. I'd say, hey.
And you turn around and glare at him. What does the removal of this psychological, legal, and financial burden mean for Ripple, the company? Are there any constraints, do you feel like now, on what you're able to do, on your vision, on your strategy, on your path forward?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll start with the thought. I don't think your question's about Ripple, but I think it's about the industry as a starting point. And I think we always, during when they first sued us, we said, this is an attack not just on Ripple, but on the industry. And at the beginning, people were skeptical of that. And I think most of the industry came around to understand that was kind of one of the first attacks on the industry that was the first of many. And so I do think that victory, which was long and hard fought, had a huge impact on unlocking the industry's ability to kind of move forward and play offense. Now, I do think, and as we've heard from various speakers today, there has been this massive sea change, and you're seeing institutions in this room who weren't here in years past because now you have the US government taking a friendly view of this. But some of them still won't lean all the way in unless we have it codified with law. And the Clarity Act passed the House, not yet the Senate. As we talked about this morning with Patrick Witt from the White House, he believes and we hope that we get something past the Senate before the end of the year. But I think for the largest financial institutions to lean in kind of permanently, we need that final step.
Okay, so I mean, and we'll see when Congress actually gets back to work whether they can get that done. As for the company itself and what's at stake, it's allowed you to move forward with your strategy, and right now that's very much M&A. You've been on a buying spree, 4 purchases this year. Yesterday you announced the acquisition of Palisade, a wallet and custody firm founded by some ex-Ripplers.
Welcome home after here.
Before that it was G Treasury for $1 billion, and then before that Rail for $200 million, and there was also the prime brokerage Hidden Road, which is now Ripple Prime. Walk us through the larger strategy. What's the unifying thesis here?
So Ripple aspires, and I think we are clearly in the lead, to be the blockchain infrastructure company, period. For the enterprise, for financial institutions. We started with payments, cross-border payments particularly, and that's still core to our strategy. Driving the velocity, driving the liquidity, driving the utility of XRP. We moved into custody, and that was an acquisition we made 2.5 years ago, a company based in Switzerland that really it continues to be the leading custody infrastructure for tier 1 banks, HSBC, BBVA, SocGen. We will continue to invest in that, and the announcement yesterday of a company called Palisade gives us more capabilities in that space to go beyond just kind of that tier 1 bank customer set. But we truly believe in one of the assets that I'm most excited about. We just announced G Treasury. Renat, the CEO, I believe, is here. He an outstanding entrepreneur. These guys are the dashboard for the CFOs of over 1,000 companies, and they see trillions of dollars of payments. They're that orchestration layer enabling that. They see hundreds of billions of dollars of deposits that are dormant and could be perhaps more useful if in a tokenized form like, let's say RLUSD. So, we have, I think, unlike other crypto companies, leaned into buying what I would call
shill the coins, Brad. Shill them.
Mm-hmm.
Hidden Road, the vast majority of their business is not digital. Certainly G Treasury, that's true. And we think that is bringing the bridge between traditional finance and kind of, we call it decentralized finance. So we're very excited about how those pieces fit together. I do think we'll probably slow down the acquisition binge in 2026, which makes our corp dev team very happy.
But that still leaves you with 2 months, so I guess.
You hear that? Where's Eric? We still got 2 months.
Do you have any ambitions to own a crypto exchange?
We looked at that a long time ago, and we are very happy investors in a number of different crypto exchanges. We invested at a time when there was reticence to invest. We involved with Bitstamp and Bitso and PDEX. I forget others, but that's a very different business than the one Ripple's in. Mm-hmm. We overlap a little bit. I think the crypto industry is going to have frenemies or competition, whatever we want to call those things. We don't compete with Coinbase, but a little bit here. They have their Coinbase Prime kind of thing, and
who's heard of frenemies? Frenemies. I've never heard that.
They have a very tight relationship around stable coins with Circle. But I don't see us entering the exchange market.
Well, speaking of Coinbase, how do you differentiate yourself from Coinbase, which is also positioning itself as a crypto vendor for financial institutions getting into crypto?
Well, but I mean, look, if I took a poll here in this audience and I said, how many people think of Coinbase as a consumer company versus an enterprise company, their DNA where they started is they're a consumer company. And that's, I think, going to dominate how that company evolves. It's not to say that they won't serve the enterprise, and that's great. I mean, one of the things, even as I've had the good fortune of being on Bloomberg a handful of times, I always am advocating for the growth of the industry. This is not a zero-sum game. This industry will continue to expand. And I've said very publicly, I think the Circle IPO, although we are a competitive Circle, I'm so happy that went well. That is great for me. It's great for the industry. And so I root for them. I root for RLUSD a little bit more. But I think that we as an industry have at times been holding ourselves back by that tribalism that just doesn't make a lot of sense. And
I'm muting my microphone so that it
combat
doesn't
that.
like override
So
what
today's
you're
news
hearing.
is that Ripple has just raised $500 million in its latest funding round, getting investments from Fortress, Citadel, along with crypto firms like Galaxy Digital and Pantera Capital. You now have a $40 billion valuation. So I guess that means you don't want to or need to IPO?
I mean, need to is, a lot of companies go public because they need to raise capital. Ripple has had a very healthy balance sheet that has enabled us to, buy Hidden Road and buy G Treasury, et cetera. So it has not been a short-term priority for Ripple to get public because we haven't needed to raise capital. We could have raised a lot more than $500 million. We simply didn't feel like we needed to. I am, though, thrilled, and kind of back to one of the things I said earlier, having a Fortress and a Citadel, I mean, these are truly the leading financial players and architects of financial trading in the country. And so for them to come along with us as partners and allies, I think is a very big deal. And I'm thrilled. The corp dev team at Ripple's had a busy year.
What message does that send to Wall Street, to traditional finance, to crypto skeptics?
Get on board. We talked earlier today about the fact that there's still over 50% of the financial institutions in the United States have zero exposure to crypto. I mean, there's zero chance that that's going to be true a year from now. That number is going to continue to go down and down. And that is actually great news because that's tailwinds for the whole industry. Yes, I mean that's tailwinds for Coinbase, that's tailwinds for Circle, but that's also tailwinds for Ripple. So happy about that.
All right, let's talk about XRP. How does XRP fit into your larger M&A strategy?
Well, XRP, and I sometimes have to remind the world of this, but XRP is at the heart and soul of what Ripple is doing. We care deeply. We have called it our North Star. But at the end of the day, we want to do things that are good for the XRP ecosystem. We want to build trust in XRP. We want to build utility in XRP. And we want to build liquidity in XRP. And each of the acquisitions we do, in one way or another, we believe it will do those things. Now, it may not be, some people may look at it and be like, I don't really scratch their head a little bit. Well, I promise you that we see in the three-dimensional game of chess, we see how we believe that's going to evolve. Sometimes we'll probably do things that are more obvious and some less obvious. That's okay with us.
Right, there might be...
One of the advantages of being private is I don't always have to explain myself to public investors.
So that's another reason not to have the IPO anytime soon. But there are critics who might say that this pace of M&A, this blistering pace, is papering over the fact that organic adoption of XRP hasn't fully lived up to its potential. How do you respond to that?
Look, I mean, on one hand, I get it, and I would say again, macro. One of the challenges for crypto at large is the number one use case is speculation. I mean, how many proven scaled use cases of crypto on any token or any blockchain can you point to? And unfortunately, I do think the industry has to live up to the promise of blockchain over the next 5 years, 10 years.
Do you think that'll still be the case in 5 years' time?
No. I was in Saudi Arabia last week on a panel at the IIF, and this was my FII. That was my primary point. That we are finally, partly because of regulatory clarity, you're seeing more entrepreneurs, more investors, and it's very analogous to what happened in the earliest days of the internet. The 1996 Telecom Deregulation Act provided clarity and structure so that entrepreneurs and investors could come into the internet space and did the money flow in, and the entrepreneurs flowed in. And yes, we saw a dot-com bubble. I think as we get more regulatory clarity, you're going to see more institutions, more capital, more entrepreneurs. Now, on XRP specifically, look, do I think that we have room to grow?
From Yorkshire,
absolutely.
Definitely.
But if you told me 3 years ago, you'd have literally, I think there's 100 different interesting startups going on in different aspects, some even competing with the Coinbase on the consumer side. There's a ton of growth that's going on in the XRP ecosystem. Some of that Ripple has partnered with, some of that we have nothing to do with. And that is because I believe XRP is an extremely efficient blockchain. It's very fast, it's very inexpensive, and it's very scalable. We don't advocate that it's the right, one size fits all, that you should do everything on the XRP blockchain. There's other blockchains that are going to be better at different use cases, and that's great. but we think that we'll continue to champion XRP use cases we think are uniquely good on that blockchain.
And it's because of that potential that we see that an ETF issuer said a spot XRP ETF will likely launch next week or shortly thereafter, even with the government currently shut down. We've seen that happen with the Solana spot ETF and the Litecoin spot ETF as well. What
Will be perfectly in line with what I said, by the way.
Just
FYI, I said 2 weeks last week.
And for
perfectly
Ripple
on
broadly.
point.
Well, look, I think anytime you are seeing the kind of trust and institutional dynamic of an ETF, making it easier to access and bringing capital into the XRP ecosystem, that's good. It's not lost upon me, ETH as a token was kind of lagging the market in terms of the overall market activity in the spring. And then the ETH ETFs went live and ETH went on a tear. I don't think that's a big surprise. You saw people easier access coming in. I think the first ETH ETF, grew to $1 billion, very, very quickly. I can't remember the exact timeline. But I think you're going to see that happen in the XRP ecosystem because there's a lot of demand from people who don't have the skill set or interest in launching a Coinbase account or what have you, and they want to have exposure to this asset class. So I think it's overdue. It's frustrating that some of these things have taken so long, but I'm not yet saying it's going to happen next week. I know people on the panels have said it's happening next week. I've heard that said before, so I'm not going to count on it. But it's obviously very, very soon, and I think that's good for the industry.
You talked a little bit earlier about how you want to be at the intersection of traditional finance and decentralized finance. Ripple filed for a national trust charter back in July. Explain how this differs from a full banking license.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm the best person to answer that.
Well, I mean, why would you want to do this? Why would you be? Why would you want this national trust charter?
So I was on a panel in Washington D.C. right after getting Brett McIntosh, who's the chief legal officer of Citibank, and who, by the way, is a great guy, former in the Treasury Department executive. One of the things he said is, look, crypto companies should be held to the same regulatory standard as the banks. I am totally at peace with that. I agree. But then he went on to argue that the crypto companies shouldn't have access to the Fed master account. Like, wait a minute. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, there are advantages that are good for Ripple, and by the way, good for society. People talk about the risk around let's say, RLUSD or other stablecoins depegging. Well, if we have a Fed master account and we have a deposits at the Fed master account, you actually improve the reliability and stability of stablecoins. That's a good thing. We should want that. So, look, I will admit that we haven't talked that publicly about exactly our thoughts on what a Fed master account and a charter license could mean for us. But suffice it to say, we think it will give us degrees of freedom in our overall strategy to kind of continue to build out the blockchain infrastructure.
I guess it's not surprising then that the banking industry is not exactly thrilled about this.
The bank doesn't want competition because they've done a shitty job of serving their customers.
Go on, Brad. I think we can all agree to that. 100%. Screw the banks.
Is urging the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency to deny applications from crypto firms that are seeking these charters. What would you say to that?
I'd say the same. By the way, I mean very seriously. I think Brent McIntosh is a fabulous guy, great chief legal officer. But you can't have it both ways. Don't ask us to be regulated as a full bank and then not give us the resources that allow us to provide services and reduce risk, et cetera. And look, I truly believe, I've already talked about Coinbase and Circle, competition is good for the market. Competition is good for customers. Why would we be anti-competitive? I would happily be on any panel with any member of the bank lobby or bank executives, and customers deserve choice.
Everyone's protecting their vested interests.
I don't think Ripple's trying to protect our best interests. We're playing offense and saying we want to grow, we want to build products and services that customers want. Look, I understand, but once you see an industry go into defense, that's the death of an industry. I think you have to innovate, you have to lead, and I think the banking industry has been on their back heels, and I think that's why crypto now exists. People want an alternative. People want the flexibility. We saw a great panel from the National Cryptocurrency Association with a woman up here talking about the benefit of having 24/7 access to your money. By the way, I'm guessing everybody in here has some story. I certainly do. When I go on, I execute a wire, and it takes me literally 30 minutes just to actually get the wire out. It's nuts.
30 minutes is an improvement from what it was 5 years ago.
So we're on the same page.
The Federal Reserve recently hosted a payments innovation conference that was really focused on crypto. What does that mean for the crypto industry? I mean, how has this shift affected your prospects? And I guess I'm curious what level of engagement you have with regulators on this.
I mean, Ripple leaned in aggressively into the kind of regulatory environment, and part of that we talked about in context of the Super PAC Fair Shake that we supported. But it also, even since the appeal by the SEC was dropped, we've met with the crypto task force at the SEC, and I think people understand we have a unique perspective because of the journey we went through, which was long and expensive. We will continue to lean in. Ripple has been a compliance-first company from the earliest days, and arguably, controversially, Ripple took a pro-bank, pro-government point of view at the earliest days of the crypto industry, which wasn't popular amongst a lot of the crypto industry.
Yeah, you're kind of an outlier in that regard.
We are, and we were, and I think people have come around to the point of view that that was the right strategy, and people have kind of moved towards our point of view on that.
You mentioned RLUSD, Ripple stablecoin. It surpassed $1 billion in market cap and is now a top 5 US dollar stablecoin. In 10 months.
Yeah, so that it doesn't feed back on my microphone, Jesse.
That market has grown really quickly, and there are a lot of questions over how many stablecoins can exist and operate safely in the current system. How do you think about this? Is there like a limit in terms of total dollar value or number of issuers?
Look, I don't think the world needs hundreds of US dollar stablecoins. I think there will be a handful of winners. I'm thrilled. I mean, you think about, we went from a standing start 10 months ago to $1 billion market cap. What people don't know is that there was a period of time in the spring of 2023 when we decided to launch our own stablecoin. In our payment flows that Ripple was enabling on an institutional basis, we were minting 20% of all USDC. And you kind of ask yourself, wait a minute, if we're minting that much of USDC, why aren't we a principal in this market? I am, again, as I said, I want Circle to continue to do well. We will focus RLUSD as an institutional, very compliant, most transparent. We're really trying to be
That's what it's going to get used for.
White hats and kind of tier one, both in how we're regulated, how we manage our capital. And so far, I'm very pleased with that progress.
Are we at saturation point in terms of the number of stablecoins out there?
Oh, no. Well, what's going to happen, I think, is a whole bunch of people are going to launch new stablecoins, and they're going to realize, wait, what am I doing? So I think there'll be a further explosion.
I think what's interesting with that whole RLUSD thing, though, that absolutely positions it not for just global markets, but countries, governments, like you name it, like they're going big with that. RLUSD could be the absolute catalyst on that, I reckon.
And we have an advantage of making it useful because we are in payment flows for lots of institutions.
All right, I'm going to wrap up our conversation here and go back in time to your prior life when you worked at Yahoo.
When I was just a child.
Just a child, 2006, right? You wrote something called the Peanut Butter Manifesto. Have any of you heard of this? Yes. Okay, all right. So you know that
one of the editors is right there. He worked with me at Yahoo.
All right. The gist of it is that to focus on your core business rather than spreading yourself too thin, like peanut butter. What would spreading Ripple too thin look like?
Well, I do think about this. I'll give you 2 quick thoughts. When I joined Ripple in the spring of 2015. Ripple was thinking about how to use the XRP ledger for multiple different use cases. There was an effort around smart contracts called Codius. There was an effort around identity, and there's an effort around payments. And one of the first things I said is like, okay, we're picking one. And there was it's kind of the peanut butter dynamic. Like, you can't compete in all of these. We have to decide. I mean, we're a bigger company now. We could do more, but at the time, we had fewer than 100 people, and we weren't going to be able to compete in each. Now, I do think about, as we expand and our breadth of services expands, we want to make sure we don't spread ourselves thin. And I think really, even in your question about should we enter the exchange
I just read your message.
That feels like spreading ourselves too thin. Staying focused on the infrastructure, the institutional infrastructure on blockchain, I think is a massive market opportunity. And I think we're nowhere near scratching the surface of like penetration and saturation of that market. So we will stay focused there, and I hopefully avoid a peanut butter problem.
Does the peanut butter manifesto apply to the crypto industry at large also?
No, I mean, look, I think blockchains and crypto, I think, are going to rewire massive parts of financial infrastructure. I think the benefit of companies is to pick your lane, pick where you want to be the best. And that last panel, I think there's some really talented entrepreneurs building amazing businesses focusing on their piece. And the overall industry, there's just so many different use cases where you can improve the efficiency of transactions, make things less expensive, faster by leveraging blockchains. That doesn't feel like a peanut butter problem.
All right, good stuff. Brad Garlinghouse, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brad Garlinghouse, there we go, as he's doing his closing remarks.
All right, so before I let you all go from Swell 2025, I just want to wrap
Probably
things
should
up
stick
with a
around
few
this so we can see
closing
if there's any
words
big
and somewhat
announcements.
personal words about the journey, if you will. So as I mentioned this morning, this is our 9th Swell. Some of you remember, there are a few people that were here for part of this, but the concept of Swell popped up in 2017, and it was the reaction to Swift wouldn't let us attend Sibos. Some people don't know, it's a true story. We couldn't get space, a booth at Sibos. And so we decided, this was in Toronto, and we decided, Sibos, the land of big banks, we were the disruptors, literally. So we went down the street, we hosted our own event, and admittedly, it was a little bit of a warehouse. It wasn't nearly what we have today, but it was anchored by speakers like Ben Bernanke. And I think very quickly Swift regretted their decision because they created more of a monster by pushing us out. Well, 9 years later, the world looks profoundly different. Some of the biggest financial institutions in the world are here in this room with us. But it's not just them. We have the prime brokers, the application builders, the investment banks, the ETF issuers, as we just discussed, and everyone in between. Crypto and blockchain have moved from being taboo words to being part of the fabric of society. And let's be clear, you are all part of this movement. In fact, you all are this movement. So thank you. I am beyond grateful to have witnessed this fundamental shift in how the financial layer of the internet is changing and evolving. The work is nowhere near done, but if the conversations over the last 2 days have proven anything, it's that although we have come a very long way, we are all just getting started. I've said this before, but it is truly, and I say this somewhat humorously, an amazing time to be alive. We are witnessing the rewiring of financial infrastructure. We're witnessing enabling things that were simply not possible before. It truly is, I believe, the economic opportunity of a lifetime to enable and catalyze this rewiring. I'm extremely proud that Ripple has been leading from the front, both with lawsuits, but in a lot of other ways as well. So for over a decade, we've been leading with transparency, we've been leading with a compliance-first posture, and we've been leading with the goal of championing not just XRP, but the entire industry. I feel extremely lucky to have had the privilege of leading this company, and of course, an honor to be part of the larger XRP community. All right, so before I sign off and let everyone get snacks and drinks, one important public service announcement. I'm excited to share with you guys that our 10th Swell is going to be a little bit different. As you guys know, the Swell has tended to cater towards the institutional audience. We've had separate events like Apex that is catered to developers. But we are excited to expand Swell to include not just financial institutions and payment providers or asset managers, but bring in the developers, bring in the investors, bring in the researchers, bring in the academics, and the broader XRP community who we've hosted at other events. This is going to be one single beacon event. Will be hosted by Ripple next year, back here in New York City, and we look forward to welcoming you all there next fall.
Okay, who's up for going? Who's up for going? There we go. Pretty bullish. Okay, let's summarize what that...
With that, I'm going to end with
Oh.
Ripple has been ready for this moment. The XRP community has been ready for this moment. I'm thrilled you are on this journey with us. It is definitely happening. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, that was kind of okay. I don't think there was anything super crazy at the back of that. Nothing like, oh my God, that was groundbreaking. Just seeing 87% of you guys are involved in that. So, yeah, I feel like maybe we should do a summary video while we're still live. I'm probably just gonna, I need to kind of listen to Vern. Vern sent me a message, which I assume is him not going to make it to the TikTok live. So, bear with me 1 second. I actually need to do this. But, I mean, I would say there's nothing super crazy on it. But maybe we should do, maybe we should try and do Ripple Swell next year. Does anyone live anywhere near New York that I can come and stay with? XRP can't pump on Ripple news. Well, I mean, it kind of isn't, is it? Well, it is a little bit. 234. Broader market sold off a little bit. Let me, I just need to listen to this message from Vern. Which is not coming through my headphones. Do an XCL poll. Did I just close that last poll down? I think I did. Why is that not coming through my headphones? What is happening, bro? But yeah, I mean, let's kind of break it down just real quick. Okay, output device, headphones. Okay, I can't listen to this message for some reason. I can't listen to it. Screw you, Vern. I can't hear what it says. But I need to hear what it says. TikTok, I might have to just do something dead weird. Just bear with me one quick second. Okay. Okay, that's fine. He says he's going to get a better house. Doesn't matter what you hold, just buy whatever you can cheaper. The better. Well, I mean, that's true as well. That is true. Right. So, overall views on that. So, let's just take a quick look at XRP right now. 234. This is the 5-minute chart. So, we got a little bit of a bounce. I mean, I don't really know what for, to be completely and entirely honest with you, but hey ho. Do a live stream from the next Swell event. I mean, I'm down for it. Who is it was there? Zach Reactor was there. Like, thing is, I mean, maybe we should definitely do something. It depends. If I've got my normal job, I can't do it. If somehow, somewhere over the rainbow that this all takes off and I can just do this full time, then I'll go everywhere. I'll be at Ripple Swell. I'll be at Bitcoin conferences. I'll be at ETH Denver. Like, you name it, baby. I'm going to be there. But I mean, look, Ripple have a nice little bounce on the 5-minute here. So at 234. But I mean, there was nothing groundbreaking within that. I don't think there's anything we didn't already know. I think what was interesting to hear a little bit more was maybe the macro side of things. So the kind of idea that they will be pushing financial markets. The kind of compliance thing I thought was pretty interesting. You know, be the most compliant stablecoin around. Probably puts them in a good place for things like financial markets, governments, all the rest of it. But yeah, I don't think there's anything super crazy in there unless anyone's going to tell me otherwise. Everyone's going to be like, oh no, Tubi, you fucking missed it. Like, it was like super crazy. Doesn't feel like it was super crazy, but still, you know, I think still pretty optimistic as to where Ripple went. I think what was good about it is that there was certainly a view that there is a lot more optimism to come, a lot more positive to come, and certainly a lot more of the mainstream, you know, adopting, which would be good. 2-bit to interview Levi and Dr. Profit. Can you imagine? Yo, I'm here with none other than. Sounds like something positive coming for the future. Yeah, I mean, look, all the recent acquisitions definitely feel like a good news story, don't they? They definitely feel good news, positive news. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Might definitely need to make a clip of that Brad video, especially involved the bank statement and the swell statement. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I can make that as a. I could do it as a short actually. I'd have to finish the stream first and then do it. Yeah, good news. Tiber, what's going on, buddy? Hey, 2-bit, what's going on, man? Welcome in. Welcome in. I mean, we can kind of just hang around. Vern's meant to be on. I'm meant to be live with Vern in like 8 minutes, so I don't actually have to go anywhere. I could just sit here and just live stream for a little bit longer. So, which would be bullish. You know, we're always trying keeping the vibes up, keeping those vibes. Bitcoin did sell off a little bit, which is kind of interesting. 5-minute chart here, by the way, if anyone cares. I don't know if you guys care, but Crowman, what's going on, buddy? Did he mention XRP was the focus? Yes, JBMY, he did. He actually said that XRP is like the main thing, which is kind of interesting. No, Craig, I didn't. Although I do have the ability to clip stuff now. So I've kind of got a program that does it. Cost me like $15 a month. So if anyone wants to clip my videos for $15 a month, they can. And the other thing I was going to say is if people want to clip it and put it out there, because shorts are relatively easy to get. If you can clip and get 1,000 views on it, I'll send some USDT somewhere. He did it. Yeah, he mentioned XRP was the focus. Yeah. Yeah, which is good, isn't it? That's good because, I mean, it's felt for a while that might not be the thing. So I think that's a good news story, in my opinion. So, yeah. All good. All good. He referred to XRP as the North Star. He did indeed. Maybe I should literally just record my XRP video right now. Just right now while you guys are with me. Do you remember I did that the other week? It's kind of fun. You can kind of do it. You just have to press record and get involved in it. Well. Brad Garlinghouse going extremely bullish on XRP. I'm going to break it all down in this video so that you can watch it here on TikTok as well. I always wondered if TikTok would be interesting in watching how I put videos together. Because, I mean, sometimes TikTok's super weird, isn't it? But, yeah. I mean, you can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. Like I said, it'd be nice to get, a push higher up on the price. Maybe to retest 240 or something like that. It'd be nice. Was good during the liquidity dump. Yeah, I mean, it held up pretty well. I mean, at 234, that's held up pretty well. The debate, obviously, is kind of when or what is the next use. So ETFs, again, if you haven't seen my video talking about it, go and watch it live on YouTube. We expect the first one to drop 12th, which I think is Bitwise. Then it's Canary Capital, then VanEck. So by the end of next week, hopefully we've got 3 ETFs in, which could be good news. So, yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. It's nice that XRP and RUSD are the main peanut bust. Yeah, exactly. Peanut butter strategy. The peanut butter strategy. But look, at the same time, we'll take it for what it is. I think that's pretty bullish news. So, in my opinion, good news. Good news. No, I'm talking about when you did the short live. Tomorrow XRP, $10. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Beeb says, what the fuck is Bear Shake? I have no idea. No, I freaking dear, bro. There's all sorts of coins out there right now. All sorts of craziness. Craziness. Man, my eye's itching. Like, why is my eye itching so much? Stop itching, eye. Yeah, he's definitely American, not Yorkshire, talking about peanut butter strategy. Yeah, I mean, that's true, yeah. There's only people that talk about peanut butter in my house, my kids. When do you think alt season will happen? Well, I mean, I thought alt season started a couple of weeks ago, but hey, turns out I was wrong. So, difficult one to call. We need to, for me right now, nothing else matters until we get to the end of the week, close the week out and see what that looks like. Close above the 50-week moving average. That's what we've got to see on BTC, and then we can make a decision. Until that point, it's almost irrelevant, really. You just got to make a decision what you think. So, I mean, I'd like to see another day of green candles. It'd be good to get another day of buying opportunities within it. That might give us the view that alts may run. We'll just have to see that. I think it's too early to be like, alt season's going to be here next week. I mean, it's hard to say that you're in alt season, but, ETH's down $1,000. It's a chunk of change, and it's 20%. So, hopefully we get something anyway. Hopefully we get something. The short you did live was on the biggest deal. Oh yeah, I've done a few. I've been live on quite a few liquidations. That crazy one, October 10th one was fucking wild. That was wild in fairness. Gold comes a little bit later rather than sooner. Well, I mean, look, the reality is if we continue to the bull market, if we close above the 50-week moving average, then potentially you could say, look, the altcoin season still could come in as the bull run may still continue into December, November, back in November, sorry, into December. Maybe even 2026, I don't know. But we've got to kind of see what it is. If it's the left eye, it means money is coming your way. It is exactly my left eye. It is literally my left eye. Is that actually true? I'm going to Google that now. If my left eye is itching, what does this mean? You have got conjunctivitis. An itchy left eye is almost always caused by common non-serious medical condition. Oh no, I don't want another serious one. My left eye is itchy. What does this mean? What would you call it? What does this mean for? What does this mean in rumors? A popular rumor or superstition is the left eye is generally has different meanings depending on the culture. In general Western folklore and some of the beliefs, an itchy left eye is often considered an omen for impending bad luck or sorrow. No. No. On Chinese culture, it's good luck. Let's stick with Chinese culture. In men, it's considered a bad omen or a sign of impending misfortune or trouble. Shit. It was my right eye, everybody. It's my right eye. Oh, God. Ask what the superstition is. Yeah, there we go. That's what it is. We'll stick with generally considered a sign of good luck or incoming positive event is Chinese culture. Let's stick to Chinese culture. CH Hassan XRP. Well, XRP 235. So having a kind of all right little move on the back of that Ripple swell. Not anything super crazy, but look, still probably moving a little bit. Keep your eyes very much peeled on the prize is probably what I would say. So yeah, I mean, there we are, the 30-minute, greening up nicely on the 30-minute, XRP on the 15, on the 5, starting to green. So yeah, 235 looks like looks like we're moving a little bit. I'd like to see BTC push a little bit further, but at the minute, it's just kind of chilling. But hey, look, bounced off that Ripple swell and ending. I guess there's been some pretty good news over there. A couple of big acquisitions, a couple of new purchases, a couple of new companies involved. Can't be a bad thing. I don't know many others that are doing that. So, you've got to kind of take it for what it is, really. You got to take it for what it is. Jesse, shut up with the bear market for the win nonsense. Get out of here. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the content, by the way, give me a little thumbs up. Massively appreciate it. Also, it massively supports the channel as well. Don't forget your daily heart me's, engaging with the conversation. If you are on TikTok, we appreciate it. Like I said, bullish. Vern says in traffic. Yeah, I did get your message. I wasn't sure, how long do you reckon you're going to be, Vern? Because I'll probably just stick on this live now for, I can stick around for a bit longer. Might be athlete's foot on my eye. That could be a thing as well. Man. I think when you itch it, it's not a good idea, is it? When you itch it a bit much. Anyway, bird poop in your head, spider on your pockets, and itchy right palm means wealth is coming. Okay, cool. Might as well. Latest circle update USDC terms. And I don't know what that was. Some nonsense come up. Hit the like and send 2x 20 XRP for good luck. Let's go. Might be tired. I am tired. I haven't been very well, have I? So I've been dying for the last 3 days, but I'm kind of all right now. So I'm kind of all right. I just want my voice back to normal because it does take the toll out of me. It does take a toll out of me, but yeah, an egg with 2 egg yolks. Man, look at the futures on the Dow. Man, the stock market's just turned very bullish. Why have the stock markets turned crazy bullish? Is it? Oh, the Trump bread bear thing was tonight, wasn't it? Hold on a minute. Trump bread bear. What time was that? Anyone know? Anyone can remember? Promise made, promises kept, the White House. Let's have a look. And there. Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. What time's that? Is that like in half an hour? On a serious note, if you wake up tomorrow and XRP is $10, would you run around the room with no pants? Yeah, 100%. And I'd sell at least 50% of my holdings. At least 50%, I think. My left hand always itches. Guess I'm not getting rich. Crackerjack, I know that feeling, bro. I know that feeling. Yeah, so apparently Trump's on with Brett Bear making 1 year since the election. Okay, I don't think it's going to be anything super crazy. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. But you never know. I'm going to announce the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay, let's go, Trumparino. Let's do it. I don't know if we get that, though, by the way. I probably highly doubt it. Oh, man, tired. On a serious note, maybe we should just do the XRP video while I'm live. Come on, let's do it. Let's put a video together. Let's put a video together. So we need some good news. We need some key data points. All right. So let's do it. Let's put an XRP video together. Let's do a Ripple swell headline XRP video right now, live on the channel. Let's do that. I think that's a good idea. Anyone else think that's a good idea? I think that's a good idea. He was talking about eggs in his speeches. MasterCard partnership's big. That is true. That is true. So we do need MasterCard payments. Here we go. Look. Bosh. So we don't need that open. Let's close that. Let's close that as well. And let's keep the price. Let's keep the price on. Let's just keep an eye on what's going on the price right now. So Ripple, let's walk through some of the things that are at Ripple as well. We need to get that $500 million buy thing in as well, because that thing's freaking crazy. Let's get this sentiment needs to be in. We want to talk about that a little bit. Oh, Brad's here. You're watching the exact moment Brad Gallihouse confirms a $500 million investment. It's 1 minute and 4 long. Have we seen this? Should we listen to this? And I can record this at the same time as well. Okay. Bear with me. So let's... Oh, is it going to come out? Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. That one. Right. Let's hear what old Brad Areno had to say. Sorry, I just realized that my I have to change this to this. Okay, cool. Right.
Morning, everybody. Great to be here. Day 2 of Swell. Honored to be here with Patrick Witt. Before we get started, well, first of all, I'll say it's fun for me to be the interviewer versus the interviewee. So I just get to sit here and ask questions, which is fun for me.
I'm in the hot seat today. Yeah.
The hot seat for sure. So before we do that, I just want to take a minute, and this is the 9th Swell, which, the very first one that was in Toronto. We have come so far from, maybe 100 people was in a warehouse on the outskirts of Toronto. But in addition to, acknowledging some of the stuff that Ashish pointed out happened overnight, earlier this morning, Ripple announced a $500 million investment from led by Fortress and Citadel, some of the biggest names in finance. And so, although we're not talking about that today, at least I wanted to acknowledge that so that people are aware that we're not just ignoring it. It is nice to take a moment to see kind of how far we've come.
Sorry, I just realized I was muted. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. So yeah, what else we got? Gemini perpetual trading the EU. Holy crap, everyone's going bullish on XRP right now, aren't they? Everyone is bullish on XRP. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, all right. I'm back now, you massive choppers. I fixed it. I think this Paul Barron, tweet's probably a good idea. Let's put that one in there as well. Let's get that up there. Put that there. So far, we've got the MasterCard bit. We've got that. Oh, I need to get, and we've got the video. I need to actually get the official announcement. Where the hell did I put that? It was. You got sound out 2-bit. Thanks, mate. Thanks. Here we go. Perfect. There we go. Right. What else do we need? Busy Bear, welcome in. If you're just joining the live stream on TikTok, by the way, I know normally we do my, live stream with Vern. He's stuck in traffic. By the way, the 2-bit crypto that's just joined the live stream, that's not me. Don't acknowledge them. Don't answer them. It's not me. I'm not sending you any messages. You are just joining, by the way. I am just about to live try and record a video. Just summarizing Ripple swell a little bit because I think that's worthwhile, and then kind of just a little bit of where we're gonna go. So okay, let me do this one and do this. He said doo-doo. Who said doo-doo? Paul thinks BlackRock to announce partnership with Ripple. Really? Ooh, that'd be pretty interesting. That would be pretty interesting for sure. For sure. I reckon this. Well, let's have this in there as well. That's definitely worthwhile. So we'll talk about that. Okay. So by the way, yeah, this is kind of what I do to put a video together. So I'm like, okay, what is the most important things to talk about? What adds value to anyone that's listening? What is worth, looking at in more, more of a kind of specific example. I don't generally buy the whole nonsense of like just people randomly tweeting stuff out like, oh, like it's going to be super crazy and like XRP is going to go to the freaking moon and da 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 da. We're trying to put actual factual information, which I think is important. So like this will be good. Put in there outflows from exchanges. So you can see here, look, this is exchanges coming out of XRP Tuesday, November 4th, negative 1.2 billion XRP leaving exchanges. Pretty interesting. People are taking it off exchanges. Maybe they know what's coming. So we now have, I think, the infrastructure. Oh, Ripple Prime. Yeah, do we need Ripple Prime? Do we need that? It's kind of not really what we're going to talk about, but man, there's loads of interviews, isn't there? Man, I'm going to have to sift through some of these interviews and see what these are all about. So 500 million. What? I tell you what would be interesting. Who is the guys? So who are actually the people that have raised it? 500 million. I mean, there's a lot to break down. Who did they say raised this capital? I'm curious as to like what the entity is that's kind of done it. Don't forget to explain frenemies. Frenemies. I've never heard that saying before, by the way. Never, ever heard that saying before. So who, they said the company that supported raising the capital. I want to see who that is. Who was it? Supported by someone. Citadel Securities. Is that who it is? Is that just the bank? So we know the world's, okay, let's have a look at these. So Citadel Securities, one of the, let me hit them a follow up. So one of the world's leading alternative investment firms, pursuing superior long-term returns for the world's premium public and private institutions. Interesting. Citadel's Griffin says the Fed needs more consistency. I mean, they haven't really posted much for a fucking long time, but let's see what they do. Citadel together. We have ambitions to be a successful investment. Okay. Investment capital as of October 1st, $69 billion. Holy shit. Number one most profitable hedge fund manager of all time. All right. So, I mean, they're pretty substantial. Pretty substantial. There was three. Yeah, the other ones are like I think people who've actually put it in. Galaxy and Pantera are both liquidity providers. So I'm imagining they've just invested in this as well. But pretty interesting. He said they handle crazy money. Yeah, it looks like it's 69 billion. Like, what the hell? This is like mega money. Investment capital as of that. Investment capital is combined across funds and include equities. So they have a $69 billion portfolio, right? At the minute. Plus any accrued performance allocation or manager allocation. So yeah. And they are the number one most profitable hedge fund manager of all time. Wild. Wild. Is that AI in the TikTok chat that's saying, it says Crypto Alpha Crew, join the discussion? Is that someone winding me up, or is that actually just like my TikTok AI? I think it's actually TikTok AI. That's wild. Right. Okay. So then if we're going to put this together, how do we then structure the video? That's the next big question, isn't it? So let's structure the video. We want to talk about, first and foremost, the actual Ripple swell. Here we go. So we actually want to just touch on Ripple swell. So we're gonna talk about this. and then go into. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk then about. What do we need to talk about after that? Probably that. So Ripple swell into this. Then we'll talk about the company that's doing it, because I think that's probably worthwhile. Then we'll talk about some more partnerships into the Ripple and MasterCard bit, which I think is important. And then liquidity, sentiment. Paul Barron. Where do we need Paul Barron? Solana and ETH can't cope with the load. I mean, that's probably true. Buy the dip. Only spend what you're willing to lose. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the right strategy. So let's Ripple. Do we do Ripple swell? Paul Barron announcement. Citadel. Okay, yeah, I think we do this. I think this is the way we do it. Other partnerships, more specific partnerships. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think this works. Then we go to that, and then we go to that. Right. Good. So it's going to be a bit weird though, because obviously I record it. I record it on this screen. And then I overload, I put the images over the top of it. So it all gets a bit weird, really. So you guys are just going to have to sort of stick with me a little bit and see. 2bit looks 10 years younger, all cleaned up. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. BTC rallying a little bit, which is kind of good news. Okay, right, we're good to go. Buy the dip over and over and over and over and over. You know how it goes. You don't lose. I mean, that's true as well. Freaking dip, baby. Buy the dip. Curtis, I was told XRP needs to be $1,000 to work correctly. If you Google how much money there is in the world and divide it by the XRP, it works out to be $1,000. Ooh, that's assuming they don't get rid of the escrow. By the way, I talked about escrow being a thing where they potentially would give institutional money the escrow. So, right, okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's talk all things XRP and let's summarize Ripple swell and record this video. All right. So we're vibing people. It's going to save me a bit of time actually, which is great news. Okay. So if you ever wanted to learn how a YouTube video is done on the 2-Bit Crypto channel, this is how it's done. We put together what I think is relatively good analogy and good information, and then we're going to talk about it. Obviously, it's a little bit on the fly, which is why you got to know what you're talking about. If you enjoy this, hit the subs up. But by the way, if you like it on TikTok as well, because I've never done this on TikTok, so you're going to see literally a live video being recorded. I don't think it's a big thing, but okay. I know some people do it quite a lot. This is me. All right, you guys ready? Don't put me off, all right? Nice office door, 2-Bit. Oh, this one here, yeah. Mate, it's not an office door. It's the front room of my house. Do you know what I mean? I'm only a little YouTuber. Do you know what I mean? But thanks. They're not cheap as well, them doors. Anyway, stop putting me off, right? I need to focus in. Need to get my vibe on. And you lot need to not put me off, right? I don't want to see random chats while I'm trying to do this video, especially you, TikTok, all right? Especially you. Okay. Don't put me off. Well, that is that. Ripple swell over for another year, but we're leaving with a massive sense of optimism. Lots of things talked about that could be an ignition for the bull market if we continue past this week. I want to break down in this video some of the key things that were announced and that $500 million investment announced by Brad Garlinghouse. Smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high, and don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Right, that's the intro done. See, that's the intro done. You must be living in a rabbit hutch. Fuck off. XRP, JB. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. It's just an intro, by the way. Tia is dead. I don't even know what that is. I'm Daniel Stewart. Not sure why name changed. Oh, it's YouTube's a bit weird sometimes. YouTube can just be a bit weird. Okay. Right. Intro is done, everybody. So as many of you know, if you are XRP holders, Ripple swell is done for another year. And next year sounds like it's going to be even bigger. But what was the big takeaways from this event? Well, Paul Barron giving us a very interesting tweet here, specifically talking about what we heard, whether it's Ripple Prime offering collateralized lending for XRP, as well as $95+ billion in payment volume through XRP, 60 million in daily transactions, and the Fortune 500 company exploring XRP for treasury options. This is good news, and this was the tip of the iceberg when we break down specifically what was going on. You only have to take a look at this announcement from Brad Garlinghouse that was said today. So then I'm gonna put the video in there. So that'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna announce that it's all this kind of stuff, blah 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 blah, right? Overtime with 2-bit in the dark. Well, yeah, it's because normally I'm live with Vern, but I don't know what he's doing. He's just like pissing about. So I thought, well, might as well stay alive, haven't we? And record a video at the same time. We're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, baby. Okay. So not only did Brad give us that announcement at the Ripple Swell event, he followed it up so that everybody can hear. And this tweet was, well, pretty bullish if you ask me. The fact is that they announced that $500 million investment from not only City Securities, Pantera Capital, and Galaxy Digital. These are all very bullish news, and these were all at a $40 billion valuation. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who is Citadel Securities? The reality is they are a substantial player in the market. #1 most profitable hedge fund and $69 billion of invested capital as of October the 1st. Well, it's another great strategy from Ripple, from Brad Garlinghouse, choosing the right people to go with. Now, this only sets up for what we believe is going to be the next big move with XRP. Yes, the markets need to come with us. We need to see a little bit more optimism, but to put a $40 billion valuation that Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse himself saying that they now don't need to look to do an IPO tells you that, well, the new era of financial markets is coming. And Brad himself saying exactly that. We'll put another Brad Garlinghouse video in there, right? We'll put another Brad Garlinghouse in there. To what time is it on your side of the pond? It is 22:48, so like 10 to 11. Fairground, thanks, man. Appreciate it as always. We'll catch you a little bit later on. That's it. What are you going to watch tomorrow? This video, obviously. So not only did we get that, there was also further announcements of some pretty big partnerships, whether it's WebBank, Gemini, and a very big announcement with none other than MasterCard. Now, this will be introducing RLUSD and credit card settlements. Guess what? All on the XRP ledger. So this was a massive event. And what do we see in terms of holdings? Well, guess what? People were removing XRP from exchanges. In fact, over the course of the last 48 hours, we've seen some of the biggest removals of XRP from exchanges, 1.25 billion over the course of the last 5 days. That's while at the same time, we had another massive liquidation event and the market dumping. So what does it tell us? Well, outside of the general push downs in the market, people are bullish on what XRP is going to do. And remember, Brad himself talking today that XRP is at the heart of everything do. He actually even referred to it as the Northern Star. So, I mean, if you're ever bullish on XRP, that's a pretty good statement from the CEO of the company. And then when you look in terms of sentiment, how do people feel right now? The reality is 21,595 brand new XRP wallets have been created in the last 48 hours. Can we attribute all of this to the market dump and now the market pushing back up? Or can we attribute it to, more notably, the XRP ledger data indicating that people want to be involved in this market, whether it's Gemini releasing credit cards, whether it's IPOs discussions, whether it's the CEO of NASDAQ talking about how Ripple and more importantly XRP can be integrated into financial markets. It's all pretty bullish if you ask me. And that's before we start talking about price predictions and everything else. XRP holding up around 234. We're looking for a push to around that 250 mark, aligned to the broader market, but the next 24 hours in that will be critical. Keep your eyes peeled, but Ripple Swell for this year is done. And I think it's probably the most bullish one we've seen yet. Let me know what you think of all of that in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Right, done. There you go. Look, everybody, finito. Nadar says we could see a big push. That's true. So then what I have to do now, look, everybody, I don't know if I can actually even show this, by the way. Hold on. Let's go here. Window. So what I do then is I come here, look, and then I have to like edit it all and delete it all and do all sorts of crazy shit in here. And you see that? So yeah, so then I come in here and like edit all of it. So new project, create. I can't do it now because it'll like break everything. But yeah, this is like where I'll like basically do everything in here. So there you go, everybody. I don't know if that was exciting. Probably not. But yeah, there we go. Exciting. I can see a big push. Yeah, Curtis is drunk on the Kool-Aid now. Curtis, can I tell you about Sui? I mean, Sui's doing all right, in fairness. I'm a holder of Sui. It's currently sitting at 203. Maybe an opportunity on the dip, baby. Maybe an opportunity on the dip. I mean, I'm in at 271, so I'm a little bit underwater on this, in fairness. But yeah, I kind of have a... Yeah, I mean, look, it's got a good ecosystem. It's got a lot of sort of positive news. But yeah, it needs to probably get a wriggle on. As does the broader market, by the way. Alvin, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. It's always exciting on your channel. Well, we try and do things a little bit differently. I think that's probably worthwhile, isn't it? We try and bring a little bit of optimism, a little bit of kind of, you know. No, he's stuck in traffic, I think. I don't know if he's actually going to make it back or not, to be honest. So I just thought, well, I might as well just stay alive for a little bit longer. Is my view. Started, don't even understand what velocity of a token. Sitecoin. Thank you so much, Alvin. Appreciate it, my man. Appreciate it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I just clicked off that. Oh, come on. And then, yeah, and then basically all I do now is import all that into my editor and then edit it all, send it off to my editor, and it'll be ready to go tomorrow. Oh my God, there's so many videos. What the hell? Bro. Fifth. I think it's these. Okay. That's fine. I think it's them. It was a wreck. Vernerino. What the hell, bro? What the hell? Where are we at? BTC pushing back up a little bit, which is kind of good news. XRP, look, I said about 7%. It'd be nice if we got to that point. Feels like that's a nice little push to the upside. Nothing super crazy, but yeah. Was this the longest video? I don't know how long it is. I mean, it's kind of long. Well, that is that. There you go. Then you see. I'll tell you what it is. So that one. Feels like it's missing a little bit off that one. Feels like it's missing. Yeah, don't forget, by the way, if you want to share us out, let people know that we are still here, actually, still bringing the heat, still vibing. You know how we do stuff around here, right? So we want to, I'm going to skip forward a little bit on this one, look. We have come so far from, maybe, but in addition. Yeah, no, that's what we want. That's what we want. We want the in addition bit. There we go, look. Bullish. Thank you very much, Brad. That's what we need. There we go. Give us that announcement at the... Give us that announcement. Thoughts on ICP, Busy Bear. I mean, it's been going crazy over the last 24 hours, which is kind of wild. And I don't know why it's been going wild. What was this bit for? Oh, I need the Brad IPO bit. I need the Brad IPO bit, everybody. So we need to go and get that. It feels like it's cut the first bit off. There we go. So it looks like it's going to be about... man, it doesn't look like it's going to be that long, actually. I thought it was way longer than this. Probably going to be about 5 minutes, maybe. I thought it was way longer than that. But yeah, I mean, ICP's been doing very well, actually, in fairness. Where's it at right now? ICP, $6. Holy shit, it's up 16%. What the hell's going on with ICP? 2bits live stream will take us to his work tomorrow, 24-hour stream. Oh, dear me. Do you mean the longest stream? I think I've done a 2-hour. Don't know, actually. I don't know if I can actually see what that is. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can. Lives. Oh, no, I need to do it in. I need to do it in studio, actually. And then content. Live. Man, it doesn't do it like, it doesn't tell me the length. Oh, it's super annoying. Filter. Can I filter it? No. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I thought I could filter it. If I could filter it, then it'd be fine. But yeah, it was up 40% yesterday. Yeah, ICP's been going wild, and I don't really know why. If I'm totally dead honest, I don't really know why. But you know, fair play. Fair play. Right, we need to just find that Brad Garlinghouse clip that he says they're not going to do an IPO. They're not doing an IPO. Where would the Ripple? It's probably going to be Ripple here, isn't it? Will the stream be finished by the 13th? Got a funeral. I mean, maybe 37. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Right, Ripple swell. Here we go. We need the Brad Garlinghouse bit. That's not the Brad Garlinghouse bit. Here he is.
The bank lobby or bank executives and their strategy on your platform continues to be the leading custody infrastructure. That happened with the Solana spot. We think it will give us the that's the depth of an industry. Coin, it surpassed $1 billion in market cap and is now a top 5 stable coin.
I'm just trying to find the bit that's the IPO bit. To be honest, I bought ICE on $20 and I have 20 coins. What was worth it? Man, there you go. Where does the? Can I remember where he does where the IPO bit was in?
Along with us as partners, invested at a time when there was reticence to is a lot of companies go public because they need to raise capital.
It's about 5 minutes in.
For joining us, Dave.
6:51.
For a personal charge, there's a corporate charge, and Stu already sitting here nodding, so I'm getting something right. I think I learned a lot during that process, but the idea that
XPL pump 2, nice.
Even former chairs of the SEC going on TV saying that they intentionally feel like that's the way.
What does the removal of this psychological, legal, and financial pull to do?
Start with, I think, what to do first, and then government and the act pass the House. I think
Say to get back to work, allow you to move forward with your strategy.
I can't find it. Does anyone else know where it is?
Or purchase to be the do you have any ambition to own a crypto exchange? From Coinbase, which is also positioning itself as a crypto vendor for financial institutions getting into crypto.
Is dominant pride, which is not a very it's $500 million.
Here we go. Here we go.
Ripple has just raised $500 million in its latest funding round, getting investments from Fortress, Citadel, along with crypto firms like Galaxy Digital and Pantera Capital. You now have a $40 billion valuation. So I guess that means you don't want to or need to IPO?
I mean, need to is, a lot of companies go public because they need to raise capital. Ripple has had a very healthy balance sheet that has enabled us to, buy Hidden Road and buy G Treasury, et cetera. So it has not been a short-term priority for Ripple to get public because we haven't needed to raise capital. We could have raised a lot more.
That's all I need to get. Perfect. You see, and then we put that in here. We take that, we import it, bring that up on here. Where is he? There. And then that goes into here. Like that. Like that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. The video is about, is it really only that? I thought it was way longer than that. It surely is not right. So he's saying that the video is about 5 minutes, 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments. We've got 6 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. There you go. Done. Done. Crypto Alpha Crew, Sui, and ICP share thoughts. Is that really? Is that AI? What the fuck is going on with this like AI thing on TikTok? It's wild. Like, what the hell? Like, is it actually like an AI like bot just in the live stream? Like, I've never seen that so crazy in my life. It's I love it. I love the fact it comes up and he's like, "Yo, Crypto Alpha Crew, let's talk about ICP and Sui." Holy shit, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Love that. Love that. So, by the way, I mean, like I said, I don't know if this is like super boring for you, but this is what I do. So, obviously, I recorded the video. I then just, I have to like update all the audio. So I change all the audio around. Oh my God, you can't even see me. Sorry, you can't even see me. There I am. So I change all the audio around. Look. So these are all the audio settings that are in here. So I just changed all the audio. So now that plays a little bit better than it did before. So obviously this isn't what I can see. So then you've got all the clips down here, all the audio down here, the exit intro bit, and then that all plays through. Here's all the clips I've used to do it. And then what I then do, just if anyone cares, is I then come off this and then I then get the notepad open. So I make it small and I record all the timestamps and then I send that off to my editor, basically. That is basically putting together a video. Pretty crazy. But at the same time, that is how my life works. So then all I do from here is like all the images I want to take, which is like, I'm going to bring this back up. There we go. So like this one, that'll be like at the start, and then Paul Barron's tweet. I need to take that. Put that across. We did this, copy image address. And it all goes onto a document that I then send off to my editor. And he then sorts it out. So I put scroll down as talking. Watch a guru. Probably just take the MasterCard image, I think. That one. Oops. And then that one. And then I have to put the timestamps in and then we're good to go. That's it. Finito. That is how we do a video. Just like that. Just max bullish. And then, like I said, we go through and take the timestamps. There we go. Is there a power cut in Yorkshire? Sorry. Yeah, I pressed the wrong button. Hampton needs... Shut up. I hate you guys so much. Anyway, what time is it? Man, I've nearly been live for a while now. What time is it? Nearly 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it probably feels like it might be time for me to get out of here. Unless you guys have got anything else you want to talk about. We were at 26,000 likes on TikTok. So I appreciate all the TikTok fam coming in. YouTube's still holding up, although we have only got 40 people here. So our viewer count has drastically dropped. But hey, does anyone actually know where the long-term prospects of crypto is? Up. Up. That's the reality, isn't it? Like, I mean, crypto's been going up forever. It'll just plateau out a little bit less. That's the difference. It won't go with sort of the crazy bits. I'm off to watch the Man City highlights. Fair play to you, mate. Good to see you. Thanks as always. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you coming in, bro. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence that Bitcoin only ever goes up? Is that a serious question? Is that a serious question? Because I can show you if you want. Is that... I know I might sound like I'm being facetious, but is that actually a genuine question? So if it is, I'll absolutely show you, Jay. I'll show you, bro. But let me know. Randy Hip has just gone live. Boom, boom, boom. Not past. Future. You want me to show you the evidence that Bitcoin's going to go up in the future without showing you the past? That's like saying, can you wipe your bum without using your hands? That's just not possible. All I can show you is this chart, bro. Look at this. This is the history of Bitcoin ever since its inception. What can you see? It's a pretty much up up and away. Yes, you have corrections in the market. Yes, you have general pull down. So if you're macro long term, then, you know, in theory, Bitcoin will continue to go up. Now, what you could do, I guess, if you really wanted to try and understand what it would look like, is you could put a curve on this, which would be which line is it? I can't think which one it is. It is. Which one would it be on? Man, I'm so confused right now. Here. Curve. So you could take it from the bottom and sort of get sort of something like that, which then you could sort of, you know, you could extend the projection and have it hit all the relevant peaks, and then you kind of say, well, that potentially is the, you know, that's the continuation line. You know, does it plateau out? Yeah, of course it does, but that's the reality of it. On-Chain Revolution Media, thank you so much for the heart me's. Appreciate it. My point is past performance is no guarantee. True. But how do you know that every day the sun is going to come up? If past performance is not a show of what's coming, how do you know tomorrow morning the sun's coming up? We don't. We just know that the sun's always come up. It's a similar scenario that generally assets will go up in price. If they have good fundamentals, why would they go up in price if they've got good fundamentals? Because liquidity will always be generated. People will always look for somewhere to put them. The stock market today is way higher than the stock market was prior. House prices are more today than they were. Why? Because of the demand for it versus the demand not for it. So yes, although if you go from an absolute technical standpoint, you could say it is not a guarantee the price of Bitcoin will consistently go up. You are 100% factually correct on that. At the same time, you could absolutely say, well, tomorrow, the sun might not come up. Yeah, but Bitcoin's... Yeah, but you see, you're getting into sort of some weird territory thing. Okay, because you could say, well, how do I know tomorrow there's going to be enough oxygen to breathe? Well, it's not physical. I can see it. Bitcoin's as physical as it needs to be. It's digitalized, similar to your money in a bank. That's not physical, but you know you've got it. How do you know your money's going to be in a bank tomorrow? Well, because you just assume it's going to be there. Crypto is a mathematical construct. The blockchain I don't think it's that true. The functionality is a mathematical construct. Banks aren't supported by countries. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If banks were supported by countries, you wouldn't get hyperinflation, because hyperinflation just breaks countries. So that's not strictly speaking true. That's not speaking true. Banks are backed by your money, not a country's money, your money. They are backed by individuals in that country, because if everyone in that country went to get their money out of a bank, they wouldn't be enough money, right? So they're not there. Stocks hold value. Again, that's not true. That's not true. Stocks don't hold value. Look at Microsoft recently. The general room, and what you're doing here is you're going from really super long-term macro to very short-term. You've got to be in a world of saying, well, do you believe that liquidity and there will be a bigger demand? The price of goods today is more expensive than the price of goods were 100 years ago, right? Because there was way more in terms of just supply and demand. I want this and I'm prepared to pay that for it. That's why it's going to be different. So, you know, you're in a world. Let me tell you this. Do you truly believe that a nearly $3.7 trillion asset class can go to zero? And you could say, well, stocks hold value. Stocks aren't real. It's not like you get a piece of the company. You get a piece of paper that says, no, they're not physical entities. They're not. You got a piece of paper saying that you own a element of that company. It's not like you get the fucking cars that are in the car park. You get a piece of paper that says you have an equity. The difference is where you're coming from, right? The difference where you're coming from is you have backed stocks, right? Stocks are backed. They're well, are they? They're not even guaranteed, actually. But it's generally a safe. They're more regulated, which is why people want to kind of have this whole like Clarity Act and all the rest of it. They're more regulated, which is fine. But Stocks aren't physical. They're a piece of paper that say that you own a particular part of the company, and for owning that part of the company, you're going to pay this much, and then you're going to get a reward back. The difference you've got with stocks, by the way, the difference you have with stocks versus Bitcoin is you technically never own those stocks. You've bought them and you have them, but at the same time, that company could double down on stocks. They could fold in on stocks. They could remove it. So Bitcoin, no one, unless you leave it on an exchange, can come and take that away from you. Stocks they can, gold they can. So but again, you're conflating two different entities and things. You can't say, well, the stock market's fine, but then because the stocks aren't backed by assets. Because I could say, well, that's fine. Tether owns US treasuries. Well, does that make Tether different then? Does that make USDT different? Well, it's still a cryptocurrency. Does it make it different? Probably not. But it's backed by US treasuries. It's backed by gold. So again, you got to be if you're gonna engage in debate and argument, what you can't do is just keep changing the narratives of it. The question was, how do I prove the price of Bitcoin will go up? Well, I can prove it by past performance. I can prove it by the fact that demand is going to come to this market. I can prove it to the fact that there is going to be more buying pressure than selling pressure. Yes, you'll see short-term dips, and yes, you'll see short-term pushdowns. Of course you will. But if you use Tesla as an analogy, how do you know Tesla's going to go up? How do you know Tesla's going to be in business? Their actual fundamentals of their company isn't great, to be honest, at the minute. Would you say that Tesla's more viable because it owns Bitcoin? Does that make Tesla different? I quit the Kool-Aids, sought professional help. I mean, that's true as well. So that's my view. But like I said, good to welcome discourse. I would always say to people, do what you think is right. Some people this market's for, and other people it's not. And that's the reality of it. That's the great thing about having, stock markets, equity markets, all the rest of the markets. You know what I mean? Also, the fact there is less Bitcoin out there now. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other thing as well. Think about this. You can always make more shares. A company can always create more debt. A company can always sell you more shares, devalue the company. There can never, ever, 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 ever be more than 21 million Bitcoin. Ever. Mega amount is people want crypto to succeed. As you say, there are trillions in there. Well, I think I think again, it's different. I think it depends what you got. Short-term individuals want the price to go up. Why? Because they can make more money, right? Let's just call it as it is. Fundamentally, though, if you understand what cryptocurrency is going to do, it will change the way financial markets operate. It will change the way that people transact with global finance. Again, my point here will be, you can go and print more dollars. You can create more treasuries. You can create more bonds. You can overinflate your currency. All of that you can do. The government can literally go and devalue your dollar. Can't do it with Bitcoin. I can give you 1 million pieces of paper with my signature. That would be a limited supply. Correct. But that's proving my point exactly, though. But the point is, it wouldn't be a limited supply, though, would it? It's not a limited supply. It's not a limited supply because you could always write some more. It's not a limited supply. See, this is the thing, Jay. Come on, bring your argument a little bit better. It's not a limited supply because you get a piece of paper and a pen and write more. It's not a limited supply. You can just write more. That isn't a limited supply. A limited supply is literally exactly what it says. No more could ever be created, irrespective of humans, machine, whatever you want to call it. It can never have any more. You can always write more pieces of paper your signature on. Always. Till the point in which you're dead. Then you can't. So that's not a limited supply. That is an unlimited supply. You can't. So what? Okay, Jay, we're done here, bro. See you later. Thanks for your argument. You can't just type so what. Get the hell out of here. Mike, honestly, it sounds like someone's trying to pull your leg. I would cease activity with them. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done now. They've finished their argument by saying, so what? Oh, dear me. I love it. I love it. Right. Anyway. Also, the fact that there is less Bitcoin out there now becomes more valuable. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I buy Bitcoin every week. It's digital gold and we're moving into the digital world. Let's hope so. Let us hope so. I mean, that's where I'm at as well, to be honest. That is where I'm at. BTC's best crypto to hold for 4 years. It always goes up. That's true. Well, look, Bitcoin's gone up forever. I mean, not consistently gone up forever. But, you know, it has gone up. So, yeah. What is Sneck doing? Maybe we'll have a look at Sneck. Anyway, I'm assuming Vern is not joining me. He's not made it tonight anyway, such is life. But good news, we've had a good stream. I've managed to get a video done, which is also bullish. This is the wrong screen that we need. We need this screen. There we go, because then you guys can see it. And yeah, well, let's call it there. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a 2 hour and 25-minute stream. So a pretty long old stream tonight. So as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I think this is my longest stream that I've done ever. We should definitely do a longer one though. We should definitely do like a 6 hour. Although I don't think I could talk for 6 hours. I'd have to do some sort of game or something as well. But I'll be back tomorrow night as always, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. in the UK time. Jay, I welcome you to come back for some more debate tomorrow night. It would be great to talk about the limited supply of fish, which isn't fucking limited because they can make more fish. That would be great as well. So as always, thank you so much, everybody, tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care and have a wonderful day. Jay, come back tomorrow, yeah? Let's send it.